sing the chorus to myself there, and you come in with your jingly jangly bed.
Sing
there.
away. You don't have to.
What is your favourite song at the minute? I could nearly guess.
I like that one, but that's not of the minute.
No, but you like APT.
Apate, yeah.
Apate,
I don't know if I like it. It just is
it's a hooky.
real earworm.
Yeah.
Is it in the charts, is it?
It is. It's very popular. And I played it after 7:30 this morning, and I knew the boys and girls around the breakfast tables wouldn't be eating their breakfast. They'd be singing away, and the Rice Krispies were flying out all over the place. And then Shannon says, there's a little lady, old lady, wants to know, what was that song? This is after 8 o'clock. What's the song you played after 7:30? I knew straight away. It says APT. And she says, I eat tea. This is Shannon.
No, the dope. She's not...
She's working too hard. You have her working.
She's not too smart in the mornings.
Oh no, she's bright as a button. You go easy on Shannon now. I have to stand her up. You have her work too hard. But anyway, welcome back.
That's
Rested.
Rosé. She's South Korean, I think.
Bruno Mars as well.
Bruno Mars.
It's good enough. We tuned in it.
Yeah, 2 days off was great. I have annual leave. You see, which I have to try and take off before the end of the year.
You know what people are going to say to me now?
I'm so committed to the job, I ended up with loads of annual leave at the end of December.
Lovely. Ones are going to say to me, that Greg Hughes is always on holidays.
But I've literally only taken 15 days the whole year.
Right, that's not a lot, is it?
No.
Sure, that's 3 weeks, isn't it? That's
Yeah.
the quota, isn't it?
No,
and there's more than that.
Yeah, 20 odd.
20 something,
All right.
3 or something. Right, you better go for news. Start back on the right foot.
You see, so you're just angry because you've taken all your days off.
Well, I have a couple banked.
Yeah, well, I hope you're not getting paid for them because I've kept my eyes on you. You've taken all your paid
No,
days
I haven't.
off. Yes,
There's a couple of ones coming up now before Christmas. I have a wedding to go to before Christmas.
Oh, very good. We'll talk more about that another time.
Yeah, we will.
All right, Lee, have a great day. It is the 9 till noon show here in Highland Radio, and it is Thursday. It's time for news updates at 9 o'clock. Let's go over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Opposition parties will meet later today to discuss potential coalition options in the formation of government. Meanwhile, Fianna Fáil has appointed a negotiation steering group to represent the party in talks with other parties and independents. The largest party is said to be expressing a strong interest in the Justice portfolio for the new Dáil term. Junior Transport Minister and Fianna Fáil TD James Lawless wouldn't be drawn on it, but says policing is a key focus.
I do think in Justice we would be seeking recruitment of more Gardaí. I think I suppose, more focus on community policing. That we want a transport police. That's something we've been very clear about all through. I was chaired the Justice Committee, called for that number of times. Our Dublin group did.
Tributes are being paid today to the CEO of Letterkenny-based Optum, who has been shot dead in New York. Brian Thompson was shot at least twice as he walked to an investor conference at a Manhattan hotel. Authorities say it was a brazen, targeted attack, with the gunman said to have been lying in waiting before fleeing the scene on an e-bike. The victim's widow, Paulette, says he'd had threats but wouldn't give details when she paid tribute on NBC News.
Brian was a wonderful person with a big heart and who lived life to the fullest. He will be greatly missed by everybody. Our hearts are broken and we are completely devastated by this news.
18-year-old Tiernan Doherty, who was killed in a crash in Inishowen on Sunday, is to be laid to rest today. The teenager from Carndonagh died following the single vehicle collision in the Ballinlough area. His requiem mass takes place this afternoon at the Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh. There's a fear the people in Donegal don't have faith in government schemes to restore derelict buildings. Councillor Fiona Bradley says there are cases where property owners are opting to proceed with works out of their own pocket instead of applying for the available grants. Despite ongoing campaigns to highlight the different funding streams for vacant property owners, Councillor Bradley says there are still a lot of misconceptions.
We've seen here in County House and Ufford through various presentations that Donegal has the highest uptake of the grant nationally, so that tells us a number of things. First of all, there are quite a number of derelict and vacant housing buildings here within the county. Second of all, because they're vacant, they could be brought back into use to help with the housing crisis that we now have, and I'm glad that the numbers are so high, but just worried that there is a misconception around maybe the length of time it takes to get an application in, to get it processed and to get monies paid out at the other end of the scale.
Weather now mostly cloudy this morning with showery rain spreading heavy at times. The rain will clear through the afternoon with sunny spells and blustery showers following. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees. That's all from Highland Radio News for now. We'll be back with news again at 10 o'clock. Until then, good morning.
Forests are more important than ever. Quilcha manages its forests sustainably to help combat climate change, to supply wood for building homes, to protect habitats for nature, and to provide beautiful places for people to enjoy. That's why Quilcha is developing outstanding visitor destinations like Beyond the Trees Avondale and creating more recreational forests in communities all over Ireland. Quilcha, forests for climate, nature, wood and people, for a greener future for all.
And now, it's time for the talk of the Northwest, the 9 to noon show with Greg Hughes on Highland Radio.
Hello and a very good morning. You're very welcome along to the 9 till noon show on this Thursday. It is the 5th of December and it's just approaching 4 minutes past 9. How are you all keeping? How's your week been so far? I was saying to Lee there, took 2 of my last couple of annual leave days off during the week. Got lots done. Thanks to Donal for sitting in my absence, but it's good to be back. And the lines are open for you as always, okay? We've loads lined up for you, including a chat later on with Jerry Adams. He's in Letterkenny at the weekend signing a reimagining or an updated version of his book that was very popular in the past. So he's coming on the show and much more besides. If you want to raise an issue with us or comment on the topics as we go along, the WhatsApp number is live for you right now. It's 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000, or you can give us a call on 074 91 25,000, or email comments at highlandradio.com. And if you're listening to the podcast, or maybe you're listening overnight, you can WhatsApp or email us and we can pick those comments up and include them in the next live show, which is great, isn't it? I'll run through the papers in a moment, but I want to start off with your chance to win because we've got 2 great competitions which are running at the moment. The first is in association with the Silver Tassie Hotel and Spa. They're giving away a Pamper Me Please package. It's worth 130 quid, and I'm giving that away tomorrow. And it includes a 2.5-hour spa package, an aromatic steam session and cocoon room, a hot towel foot and back cleanse, a stress-relieving back massage, a Yonka facial with face and scalp massage, a pressure point foot massage. I wonder, does everyone go for the foot massage? Feet is an area whereby I do enjoy massage. I think if you start fiddling with me feet, I might skip that one and just go straight to a snooze room relaxation time with refreshments. Are a lot of people funny about their feet, or is it just me? But anyway, all you have to do to be in with a chance of winning this fantastic prize tomorrow is answer this simple question, and it is Christmas themed, of course. What Christmas song mentions a one-horse open sleigh? Is it Jingle Bells or is it White Christmas? And all you have to do to enter, it costs you nothing, is text or WhatsApp, particularly WhatsApp, of course, depending on your network. WhatsApp or text your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000, and one of you is going to be winning that €130 2.5-hour spa package at the beautiful Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa. And also, just to mention, that we've teamed up with Cadbury Secret Santa. They're giving away 22,000 bars this year, and to celebrate the return of Secret Santa, we've got 2 huge hampers. Now, when I say huge, they're huge. 2 huge hampers of chocolate to give away. That's tomorrow. So the overall winner is going to win these 2 beautiful hampers and a €50 voucher. Every day it is to be won. So I presume the overall winner gets the voucher and the 2 hampers. They do, of course. So all you have to do is tell us, who do you think in your life deserves the surprise? Maybe it's someone who found your purse. Maybe it's someone who, or your wallet or whatever it is. Or maybe it's someone in your life that's really good. It doesn't, you know yourself. Who deserves a treat? It doesn't have to be a huge thing that they've done, but who deserves a treat? So what good reason do you have to surprise someone with a Cadbury Secret Santa bar and much more if you win? Tell us about someone in your life who deserves the secret bar this year, and €50 will be given away today. And as I say, 2 big what are they called again? Hampers tomorrow. 1 for you, 1 for them, or 2 for you, or 2 for them, or 2 for someone else that neither of the 2 you know. It's completely up to you is what I'm trying to say. So it's all thanks to Cadbury Secret Santa. And don't forget, if you want to send a bar to someone in secret, look out for the special posters all around the county. So text or WhatsApp 086 60 25,000. Tell us why someone in your life should receive or could receive that wonderful gesture. Right, okay. I just wanted to give you an opportunity to win right at the top of the show. Both competitions to 086 60 25,000. It costs you nothing to enter either, so get your phone out. Why not? The draws will be made today in one case and tomorrow in the others. Right, the Tyrconnell Tribune this morning. Fianna Fáil leader Micheál Martin does not expect a new government to be formed before Christmas, and in many ways, the general election results seem a lot like a hung doll, with Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael polling by 2 of a majority. It is anticipated that the new government will look to have at least 95 deputies on board. Such is the lack of confidence in both Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael. Neither Labour or the Social Democrats are inclined to be part of the new government, and they want more parties of the left to be involved in negotiations. In the general election count at the Aura Centre in Letterkenny, which lasted 33 hours, the destination of the last 2 seats was finally decided when Sinn Féin's transfers from Noel Jordan saw Fianna Fáil take 702 of them to ensure Charlie McConnell-Oak's seat at the cabinet table. So, as you can imagine from the Tyrconnell Tribune and all the papers today, but the Tyrconnell Tribune in particular, extensive coverage of the election there. The Donegal News this morning, they also have an election picture. It's Thomas Pringle. He lost his seat, of course. But their story is cremation plans for Letterkenny. Donegal could have its first crematorium after major plans for the facility were lodged. Applicant Michael Morning is seeking to provide a crematorium within his proposed funeral home at Carnamugga, Letterkenny, which was granted planning permission in August. If the development is given the green light by the planning authority, it will mean that people from Donegal will no longer have to make the lengthy journey to Lakelands Crematorium in Cavan or Roselawn in Belfast to have the remains of their loved ones cremated. In June 2023, Mr Morning sought planning permission for the construction of a funeral home, car park and ancillary works with connections to existing services. The planning authority granted permission to the development in November 2023 with 13 conditions attached. So the fact that a funeral parlour has already been granted permission, maybe that might work favourably in terms of adding the crematorium service to it. We do know there has been objections to crematoriums in the county in the past. I'm not sure what the story might be there. The Derry News this morning, Donegal learners urged to take driving tests in Derry. A local driving instructor is encouraging learner drivers from Donegal to consider taking their driving tests in Derry. Deborah McElhinney, owner of Deborah's Driving School, described the process as very straightforward. Speaking to the Derry News, she said, there is a massive difference in driving test and retest waiting times between Derry and Donegal. According to the Road Safety Authority website, the next available driving test date in Buncrana and Letterkenny is May 5th, 2025. It is May 12th, 2025 for Donegal Town. In addition, anyone needing a retest in Donegal had to wait a further 3 months. Essentially, there is a 5-month driving test backlog in Derry compared to an approximate 1 to 2 week wait in Derry. Maybe some of you out there have availed of that, or someone in your life did. It's a different setup, I suppose, in that you're kind of preparing for one in the Republic, and you might be, doing the circuit in Buncrana or Letterkenny or Donegal Town, and for a few learner drivers, they probably might not like the change in scenery for the test, but for some it's an option. I mean, that being said, and I said it before, there's always a vacancy. There's always, not always, but more often than not, if you go on, if you are in the, if you've done all your lessons and what have you, and you go on to the RSA website, check availability, and then check for cancellations, often there are tests available somewhere in Ireland. And pretty much every day. When I was checking for Ireland, there was one pretty much every day, and they do come up with a level of frequency in Donegal as well. It's not like the NCT where they're loaded at midnight. They just come up randomly, so you do have to keep checking and what have you. But I think I might be more inclined to go for one of the cancellations somewhere down the country if I was going to go down that route. But for some, Derry's much handier. I just know if you're listening to me in Mount Charles, Derry seems like a million miles away for this type of a setup. Right, let's go to the Nationals. The Irish Times. Fianna Fáil prioritises policing in government negotiations. Policing reform is set to be a central plank for Fianna Fáil in programme for government negotiations, with a tussle over the justice portfolio expected in coalition talks with Fine Gael. Fianna Fáil emphasised justice issues during the general election campaign and indicated it would be interested in pursuing the portfolio and saying the area needs a fresh approach, with Fine Gael having held the ministry for 14 years. Sources say the party is keen to put a focus on community policing and visibility. Fianna Fáil opposed an overhaul of Garda recruitment structures during the campaign, including a graduate entry scheme for the force. I think a lot of people would be very much in favour of more community policing and a more visible police force. I think that might be a positive development. More speculation on the makeup of the next government. And the truth be told, look, they've got 87. They've got willing independents there. They're meeting on December 18th. If they want to, they could have a government in place before Christmas. They might leave it till after Christmas, but the numbers are there clearly for Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael to go back into government. I suppose with Fianna Fáil having such a seat advantage over Fine Gael, I wonder would that sort of make the negotiations a little more tetchy, because I presume Fianna Fáil will want more influence given the fact that it's the biggest party by pretty much all metrics following the general election. Well, Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael will be scrambling for even more independents to prop up the expected coalition after it emerged Sean O'Reilly's on course to be voted back in as the Cam Cóla in 2 weeks' time. This is the Independent. It leaves the anticipated coalition of Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael with just 85 TDs, too short of a working majority. The coalition will also want a larger number of TDs for stability. Despite previously ruling himself out of the role he's held since 2016, Mr O'Friel, who's just 64, is surprisingly on course to be voted back in when the 34th Dáil convenes for the last time. It's understood that a sufficient number of nominations, 7 from the Kildare South TD to be Cam Cóla, have already been received by the Oireachtas. The TD who is voted as the Cam Cóla automatically keeps their seat at the next general election. Sources close to the TD said he's been approached and encouraged to take up the role again. There has been speculation as to which party will be able to secure the position as part of coalition negotiations. However, these are unlikely to have concluded by the time a secret vote takes place to select the Cam Cóla. And we heard from, because there was some sort of suggestion that maybe Pat the Cope Gallagher could be a good fit for that role. He's not campaigning for it, but he did say during our election coverage that if the party wanted him to go forward for it, he would answer that call. But it looks like Sean O'Reilly is going to retain that spot. On to the Irish Daily Mail now, and I think we've all been horrified by the brutal and tragic death of Malika Nur Al-Khatib. Well, the father of 8-year-old Malika Nur Al-Khatib has appeared in court charged with her murder and the attempted murder of her mother in County Wexford. Mohammed Shakir Al-Tamimi of Lower William Street in New Ross appeared before a special sitting of Gorey District Court yesterday evening. The 34-year-old has been charged with the murder of Malika and the attempted murder of her mother, Aisha A.G. Khatib. The schoolgirl died after she suffered stab wounds in the early hours of Monday morning when attempting to intervene in a row. Detective Garda Donald Doyle of New Ross Garda Station gave evidence at his arrest and caution to the court. He said that the accused was arrested shortly after 12:30pm at University Hospital Waterford on Tuesday. He was subsequently charged with the offences shortly after 5pm yesterday at Wexford Garda Station. Now, I'm not being preachy here, but this person has been arrested and charged with that crime. He still has the presumption of innocence until such time he goes before the courts. So just be conscious if you're commenting on that often defence solicitors and defence lawyers will look at discourse on social media and might use that in some way to mitigate or as a defence. So just that's as far as I'll go in saying that. But anyway, the Irish Farmers Journal this morning: farm incomes look set to rebound this year and next as higher incomes are forecast for dairy, beef, sheep and tillage farmers after a nightmarish 23. Teagasc's outlook for 2025 forecasts higher milk, beef and grain prices while lamb prices are to hold steady. Input costs should ease slightly as fertiliser is expected to fall another 5% and levels of concentration feeding return to more typical levels. Interesting to hear this morning. I was listening to the radio a little bit and I heard a government spokesperson whose name just escapes my memory at the moment, who said that the bit of a pass that we have for nitrates in this country is being phased out. I hadn't heard that before. I heard they were going to battle hard to retain the nitrates derogation, but he said in the interview, and apologies for not knowing the man's name, he's leading the Fianna Fáil negotiations. It'll come to me in a moment. But anyway, I'm not saying he let it slip, but I hadn't heard it before. He said that the working plan at the moment was for the nitrates derogation to be phased out, whereas I was under the impression that the battle was on to retain it in Ireland. But anyway, it's just these little things that are said in passing that it's good to store in the back of the head, because that's a government rep speaking off the cuff saying that that they anticipate the nitrates derogation to be phased out. On to the Irish Daily Star now, and United Healthcare boss Brian Thompson was killed yesterday in what police suspect was a targeted shooting outside a Manhattan hotel. New York Governor Kathy Hochul called it a horrific and targeted shooting, while Mayor Eric Adams added this was not what appears to be just a random act of violence. Thompson, 50, was set to speak at an investors' meeting when he was gunned down at around 6:45 a.m. outside the New York Hilton Midtown by a shooter who fled on a bicycle, the NYPD said. Now, this video has been widely circulated, and to all intents and purposes, it does look very much like this gentleman was targeted by this assassin. The injured chief executive was taken to a hospital but could not be saved. Police were still searching for the shooter last night and no arrests have been made. Adams said police were receiving evidence from the scene, including video. United Healthcare is the insurance arm of the healthcare giant United Healthcare Group, and they, of course, have a strong presence here in County Donegal, and I understand staff were briefed in relation to that development there. On to the Mirror this morning, and veteran Republican Marion Price is taking legal action against Disney Plus after she was depicted killing Jean McConville in Trouble's drama Say Nothing. The series portrays the murder and secret burial of the West Belfast mother of 10 by the IRA in 1972. She became known as one of the disappeared, a group of 17 people who were abducted, killed and secretly buried by Republican paramilitaries during the conflict. Her remains were finally found in 2003 at Shelling Hill Beach in County Louth by the Independent Commission for the Location of Victims' Remains. No one's ever been prosecuted in connection with her death, which left her children orphaned. Say Nothing is a historical drama series funded by Disney on its American streaming service Disney Plus, produced by FX Productions. It's based upon the 2018 book of the same name by Patrick Radden Keefe. The decision by Miss Price, who's also known as Marion McGlinchey, to initiate formal legal proceedings against the entertainment giant was first reported by the Irish News. Peter Corrigan, a solicitor for Phoenix Law, said the publication in question depicts our client, Marion Price, as the person to whom was responsible for murdering Jean McConville. Mrs. Price has initiated legal proceedings as a result. So it's a drama that I suppose had not ramifications for the elections, but I do note there were some politicians that were questioned on it, as you know, in the lead up to the election, and now it continues to rumble on. And finally, Conor McGregor faces being hit with a €1 million legal bill after losing his civil rape case. This is The Sun this morning. The MMA brute, as he's described in the paper, is reeling as companies and retailers rush to dump his booze brands amid outrage at his sexual assault shame. Now he'll be at the centre of a court battle today to decide who pays the legal costs from the High Court rape case. Now, he was found liable in that. There was a second defendant who was not. So it's going to be somewhat complicated. And I understand as well some of the social media posts by the two defendants and indeed Conor McGregor's partner are going to form part of that costs conversation. So a lot of you will be interested in how that transpires over the course of today, I am sure. Rightio, that was a run through some of the stories making the newspapers today. If you want to comment on anything there, or as I say, raise your own issue, 086 60 25,000, 086 60 25,000. The caller says, just wondering why some posters are still up around Letterkenny, plus there are still cable ties on the poles. Is this legal? The posters should be down now, I would imagine at this point. I'm not really quite sure how long they have. I do, but I don't want to say it in case I'm wrong. The cable ties, easiest thing in the world. And I know for some, they might be disappointed taking their posters down, but the cable ties are an absolute nightmare. Hopefully all will be sorted. If not, we'll keep an eye on it.
Daily newspapers are courtesy of Cosgrove, Centra and Diner, Mountaintop, Letterkenny.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Your home is likely the most expensive decision you'll ever make. The Property Services Regulatory Authority is here to protect you when you're bidding, buying or renting should things go wrong with your auctioneer, sales or letting agent. So you can make sure that the most expensive decision you'll ever make doesn't end up costing you more than it should. To learn more about your PSRA consumer protections, visit psr.ie. A message from the Property Services Regulatory Authority.
Discover the ultimate escape at the Spa at Orchids, the Holyrood Hotel, Bundoran, nominated for Spa Experience of the Year 2024 by the Irish Hotel Awards. Indulge in an oriental bamboo massage, reflexology, or choose from our signature therapies, skin glowing facials and invigorating body treatments. Couples can unwind together in twin treatment rooms or share a peaceful moment in the secret garden with outdoor hot tub. The Spa at Orchids, open daily. To buy a gift voucher or reserve your appointment, visit holyroodhotel.com.
If you're planning your perfect home for 2025, start at Foy's in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet. From free interior design consultations to expert paint colour advice, we'll guide you every step of the way. Whether you're designing your living room, bedroom or dining room, Foy's have everything you need. Choose from a wide selection of paints, curtains and blinds to suit every style. Your dream home starts at Foy's in Letterkenny and Ballybuffet.
Highland Radio Time Checks brought to you by EirGrid, the operator and developer of Ireland's electricity grid. EirGrid, powering up communities, powering up Ireland. The time is
24 minutes past 9. Now, Leaving Cert students will be permitted to use artificial intelligence tools when preparing research projects worth at least 40% of marks across a range of subjects from next year. However, students will be obliged to quote or reference any use of AI tools or risk losing all marks for their projects. Cassie Lamb's Donegal Regional Officer with the Irish Second Level Students Union and joins us on the programme now. Hi, Cassie.
Hi, Greg. Good morning.
What's your reaction to this development?
Well, my own opinion, I'm delighted to see it coming in. It will definitely help students with the research on difficult topics that maybe Google or any other platforms will be able to help students find key examples. So the ISSU as well, we're delighted to see it coming forth.
Does it not mean AI is going to be doing the work you should be doing, though?
Well, you can look at it that way, but we're not using ChatGPT. We're not saying, right, put into a chat box saying, can you do my whole project for me on this topic? We're actually just getting more key points where we can go into more in depth on the subject or the topic.
My concern, though, is does this not give an advantage to students that maybe are more proficient in the use of AI? You know what I mean? And creates another hierarchy in the exams.
Well, it can and it can't at the same time. AI, we're not, as I said in the start, we're not putting in ChatGPT into a chat. We're using it nearly like Google to give us sources. It can for some students, but it can for others. It will benefit all students at the end of the day. It's just how does the student use it. Other students might not use AI in the end. They might just decide and are against AI and say, here, I don't believe it. I want to use my own knowledge. I want to use books, Google, whatever. Other students will use it to their advantage. It just depends on the student.
Yeah, and it also kind of depends on how it might be viewed by those marking the papers. I mean, do we know if someone chooses not to use it? Are they advantaged because, you know, they're doing all the work of themselves? And I know AI is being used in certain ways, but I think I would look more favourably on someone I was marking if I thought everything came from their work rather than being assisted by AI. Do you get me?
Yeah, 100%. Like, again, everyone has their views on it, especially teachers. But again, it depends on the subject as well. So there's just many ways about it that even in the acknowledgements or in your research, you can put in the links of AI, or I think the examiner should nearly say, here, look, this student didn't use that much AI. You should maybe go into more depth on their report, whereas other students might have used the whole paper on AI, but did use only for, say, tips or tricks. And, you know, they would be like, right, we need to go through this again. So it just the examiners will need to concentrate on the papers a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, AI is going to be used or potentially might be used. So it's good that it's being acknowledged. I just think I would like it to be more clear if it's seen as a disadvantaged in using AI, even in the context we've been talking.
Yeah, no, 100%. I agree with that because AI is growing every day. But I'm delighted to see that it's actually coming into schools and students will actually know how to use it properly. That we can actually see, right, maybe I shouldn't use it for the whole paper or the whole subject. I can actually use little bits from it. But I'm delighted to see it coming.
We're talking about the use of sort of artificial intelligence, I suppose, when it comes to preparing work that will be scrutinised, you're leaving certain what have you. From speaking to your peer groups or what you know, is there any concern that maybe students are using AI now, right? And then when it comes to sort of exam time, they've leaned so heavily on AI that they might actually struggle to do the exam paper without its assistance or homework or projects or, the day-to-day stuff throughout the course of the year. Because it's incredibly tempting, of course, if you want to head out or do something to sort of cut corners. I wonder, do you think many students are doing that?
Well, again, some students can and some students might not be. If I were to use AI now for studying, I'm in TY, I'm not doing too much studying right now, but I would even just learn maybe the topics or ask AI a question and maybe try and learn those things off. Whereas other students might be too reliant on AI and they really need it. But as well, the government are even thinking about students are allowed to bring in notes into the exams. So nearly you could have those answers on the page and just wee words about it. That will benefit students, I think all students at the end of the day.
Yeah, okay. I think it's you have to get it right because obviously, what we do in primary school, secondary school, and then into third level, it reflects on obviously the quality of the student that we're producing and their international standards in relation to that. So, we have to make sure we're getting it right because we have to make sure we're outputting students of, that have sufficient knowledge and also can use that knowledge independently.
Yeah, no, agreed again, but I'm just so happy that it's actually being brought in and students can see, right, this is the right, this is the bad, this is the wrong, that we are being taught safely of how to use AI in our daily lives. That's not going to take over, hopefully, jobs in the future, that we can use it to benefit us, not to negatively impact us. So, yeah.
All right, Cassie, great stuff. Thanks as always. Take care. Cassie Lamb there. She's the Donegal Regional Officer for the Irish Second Level Students Union. Some of your contacts this morning. Good. My daughter's drink was spiked on a night out in Donegal 3 months ago. She was very ill and spent 4 nights in Letterkenny University Hospital. We're still waiting to hear if there was any footage captured on CCTV, and detectives are still waiting on medical notes from Letterkenny University Hospital. With Christmas coming up and more people getting in the Christmas spirit, I was wondering if your station would make people aware of what is happening and to ask people to be vigilant when they are out socialising. So that was a case an alleged case in the south of the county, and that's no disrespect to the mum that contacted us, but it's just for procedural. I also heard a similar story shared with me in Derry and elsewhere in the county, so you just have to be really, really careful, don't you? That some people can even actively try and distract you so as to spike your drink. So just be really careful as we head into the Christmas period, because what happens is you get a number of these cases and then everyone is on their guard, which is great. But what happens is if you don't get publicity of spiking cases for a while, maybe we all sort of, in a human way, let our guard down. But that young woman there had a terrifying, horrible experience and still waiting for CCTV footage and results coming out of Letterkenny University Hospital. Right, Mary's with me now. Mary, good morning to you. Thanks for joining me.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. Right. What's the situation with your daughter? It sounds horrendous.
Yeah, 2 days ago, my daughter had been sent a message through Snapchat. There was an AI-generated photograph of her. It was her face, and then it was obviously a nudity body. And she was only 13, and she found this very, very distressing. And then we found out then through her speaking to a couple of friends that this same page has been doing it to numerous of girls that's literally under the age of 14.
My word.
Yes, and it was very, very distressing. And I have to now go to the guards today to report it. It's just that the this AI situation, it may look good on the outside, but when it's doing stuff like this, where children is getting dragged under the bus, I think it's a very scary situation for them.
Mary, did you see the image? My concern is that with artificial intelligence, that it might look legitimate, if you know what I mean.
Oh, it did, yeah.
Which is a very worrying concern. Myself. Yeah, that's.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, listen, all of it's bad, but I think once something's on the internet, it can be hard to scrub it. If that's happening, that's very, very concerning, Mary.
Yeah, it's the way she's looking at it. She has to now face a full school of people that she doesn't know if they have received this picture or, and then she's saying to me, like, Mum, how can I stand and prove that picture? Like, what am I going to do to prove it? I said, look, we'll just go to the guards and just do what we can do. But it's the fact that it's not just my child that is getting it done to. It's a few girls, and it is very distressing time for them.
And did you get the impression that whoever the sickos that are responsible for this, tried to make it look like her head matched the body, if that makes sense?
Oh, it did, yeah.
Right, okay.
Honestly, you would have thought it was an actual picture that she'd sent herself, only for I know the picture that she'd done, and I know my daughter as well.
I know that. Yeah, no, I know. I'm not even. I'm just. My concern is that if they're, it's just going to be incredibly troublesome if they're actually going to the effort of trying to make it, look, skin color and all that type of stuff.
Yep.
Right.
It was totally legit looking.
And do you think it's a case that there's a website where people are able to upload the headshot and then the image is automatically created?
Oh yeah, or just to get it and get it AI generated. Just have that photograph and then you get the AI to generate it.
My word, as if young people hadn't enough to worry about, Mary. Because
exactly,
tell you,
I think your exams and stuff.
Yeah, I think your daughter has her head screwed on, and she's got you to support her. You do worry about other young girls or boys that this would be almost impossible for them to deal with.
Yeah, because my daughter was very distressed about it yesterday, and she had wrote something up on her page. And when she did, some other 2 or 3 other little girls had texted her and says that same page, and the page comes up as just say, Mary, please add me, which the child's name could be Mary.
Yeah.
And say if there was a Siobhan, it'd be like, Siobhan, please add me. So these kids are thinking that this is a family member or somebody that they may have blocked. And then the first thing he says, do you want this picture? Now, bear in mind, my daughter's Snapchat is open on my phone anyways, because that's what I do. And I was standing there and I had seen the friend's request come in, and then I said it to my daughter and she said, accept it. And then as soon as I did, the photograph came in, and I personally seen it myself.
Okay. That really worries me, Mary, and I'm not even directly affected by it because it's just the ripple effect of this. Okay, I think it's really... I don't know how we tackle this because everyone has a picture of their head on the internet, if you know what I mean, or in a school photo or whatever it might be. But it's something that's it's really actually quite troubling. Okay, Mary, listen, we'll see if any other... firstly, it'll be interesting to see what the Garda approach to this is, because I'm sure this is a very serious crime, and I think that's the way we might discourage it if people are sort of found to be responsible for it.
Totally.
Yeah, okay. Listen, Mary, thanks very much for your time. I'm sorry you're all going through that. I'm sure it's very stressful for you. If any of you out there... I'm just concerned, actually, that... Mary's daughter was able to come to her and have that conversation. I just wonder how many of our children maybe are going through that and don't want to bring it up with us because they're concerned that we might believe it's true or not. Very worrying indeed. Hi, Greg. I don't think you should be making any more predictions about government formation. You got it wrong about Charlie McConalogue, who you dismissed before any votes were cast. I really find that quite remarkable because I got into trouble for actually being of the view that Charlie McConalogue would comfortably secure his seat. So I don't know where I said he was written off because, as I say, there was a bit of a pushback that I had said that I believed he would win his seat, and the concern was that could lead to some voter apathy. So that's not my experience, to be honest with you. Make my day, Greg, and tell me again that the Green Party have well and truly been annihilated. This result was on the cards from years ago, but they were blind to the views of the electorate. Climate change will not be achieved by taxation, education, and accessible support grants is the way forward. Grants where you have to spend up to 50k before you claim a rebate is not accessible to most householders. Well, they're estimating that by 2030, we are going to miss our climate targets. And I think this was suggested by some in the run-up to the election, I'm not quite sure who, that we could be facing fines from the EU of between 8 billion and 20 billion. It depends on what credits are available. The plan being that if we exceed our climate targets in 2030, we buy credits from countries that achieved their climate targets. And in that system, it cost us about 8 billion. But because many countries will not meet their targets, and not many countries will, those credits are going to be, the offset is going to be at a premium, right? So it could cost us up to 20 billion. So is now not the time maybe to spend that money and retrofit houses with no cost to the homeowner? So, rather than paying that out to fines the EU effectively, would we not be better off using that money now, at least some of it now, and, retrofitting houses with very little cost to the homeowner? I don't know. It would make sense to spend the money on us now, wouldn't it? Let me see. What was I going to do? I was going to take a break, actually. Stay where you are. I'll be back with more on the 9 till noon show after these messages.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Donegal at night. It's vibrant, it's diverse, it's ours. Let's be safe and sound. Whether you're out for dinner, a show, a match, or just a stroll, we all play a part in creating a safe and enjoyable atmosphere. Let's look out for each other. Keep our streets clean. Have fun. Let's keep Donegal a place where everyone feels welcome and respected. Let's be safe and sound. This ad was brought to you by Donegal County Council and is an initiative of the Buncrannon Nighttime Economy.
Put your money where your heart is this Christmas with a Strabane gift card. Purchasing a Strabane gift card is the perfect way to support local businesses and can be used in over 70 businesses, making it the perfect gift this Christmas. So, love local today. Buy the Strabane gift card at O'Neill Sportswear, the Alley Theatre, or online at lovestrabane.com.
Hip hip hooray! Hip and knee replacement surgery is now fully reimbursed by the HSE under the Northern Ireland Planned Healthcare Scheme. Why wait? Access treatment faster at Kingsbridge Private Hospital in Belfast or Ballykelly. You'll be seen within 7 days and have your surgery within 21 days. We guarantee it. Text hello to 51777 for a call back from our dedicated cross-border team, or visit kingsbridgeprivatehospital.com/cross-border for further information.
For all you hard workers and multitaskers, those who come to work with big ambitions and bigger ideas, and all you legends of the trade, however you get the job done, there's a Volkswagen commercial vehicle for your business. Choose the new Transporter, Caddy Cargo, Crafter, Amarok, or the all-electric ID Buzz Cargo. Enjoy HB finance from 0% or purchase contributions of up to €2,000. Find the Volkswagen in you with the 251 range. Terms and conditions apply. Finance provided by way of hire purchase agreement from Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland and subject to lending criteria. Volkswagen Financial Services Ireland Limited is regulated by the Central Bank of Ireland.
Visit Connolly's Volkswagen Letterkenny. Order now at connolly's.ie.
Are you ready for a cozy night watching the toy show? Get festive with 50% of all Christmas decor at Homeland Letterkenny. Save 50% on Christmas trees, lights, baubles, gifts and more. Shop in store and online at homeland.ie. Nationwide delivery available. Save 50% while stocks last.
Now, you're very welcome back to the programme. We're joined on it now by Ed Hick, who's PRO with the Irish Deer Commission. Ed, good morning to you.
Morning, how are you?
I'm doing good. Right, okay. We're talking about deer culling specifically, but just in relation to 2024, I think over 2,000 deer culled in Donegal, many more thousands around the country. Is that working effectively? Are we culling to the right degree to, I suppose, control the numbers of deer?
I think one of the key points is we're kind of still playing a bit of catch up, if you like.
Don't tell me we still don't know how many deer there are, because I spoke to you last year and we didn't know, and we were about to find out.
No. There's still no definitive amount. But the other thing is, I suppose. For a 2-year period, there was during COVID, there were no effectively there was no licenses issued, and they kind of multiply at about 30% per annum. So they weren't affected by COVID at all. Actually, in fact, it was a boon for them, if you like. So the population dramatically increased, by 30% per annum during COVID, basically. On average, there's about, say, ballpark 65,000 animals per year are taken in the country as a whole.
Mm-hmm. So 2,704 were taken in Donegal, according to the most recent figures that I could find. When deer are cold, what happens to them, their carcasses, their remains, generally speaking?
Well, when it's done on a if you like on a private or on an individual basis, and I'm sure many people will be familiar with this, it generally tends to get divided between friends and family.
Right.
This is a little bit like I think for a lot of people who engage in deer stalking as a hobby and a pastime, it's very much like fishing. It's a question of you divide the bounty with your nearest and dearest. And that's kind of always been the way that it has been, Now, with the increase in population, I suppose there's probably been this notion of a cull has been something that has, but, realistically, a cull it sounds like a simple solution, but really what you're talking about is kind of, you need a long and medium term management strategy. And I think there's a bit of an absence of that.
Because you need to be culling the right... And now, some people find the idea of culling horrendous to begin with, right? But that notwithstanding, you also need to be presumably targeting the correct animals at the correct time in the correct places to actually effectively control the population.
To affect the numbers, to affect the numbers.
Are we doing that?
I mean, unfortunately...
What kind of oversight
like
is there?
In management is a numbers game.
Yeah. Are we good at that, though, Ed? I mean, what's the oversight to ensure that we're doing it correctly?
The oversight, there is no real oversight. There is no real centralized oversight. The only thing that we know with any certainty is that once a year, there are figures collated by the Department of the Environment of what happened last year. And that's the best, in many respects, that's the best we have. I'm not sure that there's any significant amount of planning that goes on in and around that. I mean, I know that individual farmers will be very keen to see reduction in numbers. I mean, they've got crops that are being damaged, they've got forestry that's been damaged. It is something that can have a real impact on people. And it's not that a deer wanders in and eats an entire tree, but it nibbles the bark all the way around the tree trunk, or it goes into Christmas tree plantations and nibbles the top, and then you get twin shoots, and
I get you.
Nobody wants a Christmas tree that looks like that.
Yeah, and those who are most damaged by the growing population perhaps will be put more attention into trying to control it, i.e., shooting or killing the right animals at the right time to try and control the population. But I'm just wondering, of the sort of 2,700, is it clear how many of those enter the food chain as you've described, or what happens to the carcasses? Are they just left lying there to rot and potentially?
I think I can't speak for
anecdotal.
Everybody, yeah. I think in terms of individual deer stalkers, I don't anticipate that any are left behind. To be perfectly honest with you, I think if animals are being left behind, it's where they're considered to be too big of a drain on either meager resources or just, I don't fancy dragging that animal off the hill. Now, there's a question mark around that. If you don't fancy dragging the animal off the hill, why you'd be disposing of it. Look, there's a lot of literally downstream implications from this, not least of which is water quality. I mean, and there's also, there are private individuals who've been prosecuted under various waste management acts and/or the Animal Health and Welfare Act for the dumping of carcasses. So, you know, it wouldn't be a great thing to be just leaving them behind. You
But
know,
venison is very valuable, and it's clearly sustainable because we see the numbers increase by 30% of the population annually.
It's
So,
a fan-
but
it's
why
a
is it not?
fantastic meat.
So why is it not commercialised then in some way or other?
Look, that's a societal question. I mean, we've fallen in love with the chicken fillet roll, unfortunately, in this country. You know, in a way that perhaps look, we don't necessarily have an enormous tradition because it was always the preserve of, if you like, the landed gentry, I suppose, in many respects. So we wouldn't necessarily have the same traditions that you might have in, say, rural France or Germany or Poland or Hungary or somewhere like that, where you know, so we've got some catching up to do, if you like, in that regard. But it is a fantastic food source, that's for sure. It's a fantastic meat. It's got a really high, without going too nerdy about it, it's got a really high bioavailability of the protein in it. So in actual fact, eating less venison will yield you the same amount of protein as another meat, you know, which obviously I appreciate many in the farming community might be too keen to hear.
A caller says the problem with the deer is that shooters should be ordered to shoot at least a dozen deer. People are getting these licenses and then are unable to maintain them. Killing one deer a year is not enough. But I mean, I don't know what the target is in Donegal, but 2,704 deer sounds like an awful lot of deer to be killed in a year.
It does, but there are a lot of them there.
Right.
We just don't know how many. They're terribly sneaky. They blend. You know, they disappear in plain sight, and consequently, they also reappear magically in the middle of a field. Like they're quite a furtive animal. I mean, they're a gorgeous animal, I have to say. Now, I'm very keen on them myself, but I think the difficulty with that would be, how would you enforce that somebody was to go out and catch 24 mackerel?
Yeah, I get you. So finally, in a minute or two, Ed, what do we need to be doing? What are we doing wrong, and what do we need to be doing going forward, in your view or in the Commission's view?
Well, I suppose the key point is that we need a deer management strategy. You know, and really, ideally, you'd want that as on a national basis. It needs to be considered, and it needs to be sustainable. I mean, there's a lot of ethical issues around shooting animals and leaving them on the hill as well. We want to be responsible. And I know this is going to sound like a bit of a pun or a mixed metaphor, but there is no silver bullet here. It's going to have to be something that's going to involve people who are deer stalkers, who do that on a amateur or hobby basis. It's going to have to involve management teams, likely within the national parks. I think there's an issue around forestry whereby, you know, they love the cover of forestry. And if you speak to any farmer who borders forestry, they'll tell you all about how many animals pop out at night and graze their grass on them, you know. All
right, Ed, listen, thanks again for chatting to us. Take care of yourself.
No problem at all.
Bye-bye. Ed Breen, PRO with the Irish Deer Commission there. I'm actually have to take a break. We'll be back with the weather.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Have yourself a merry little National Trust Christmas. Let the Yuletide market at Rowan Garden enthrall you. Meander through the festive winter trail at Mount Stewart. Unleash your sparkle at the new Twilight Market at the Argery. Step into a gorgeous Georgian Christmas at Castle Ward. Let little ones write letters to Santa at Castle Cool. And embrace the giant spirit of Christmas at the Giant's Causeway. Search National Trust NI for days and nights sure to be merry and bright this Christmas.
251 Opel at Heron Auto. We are launching the all-new Opel Grandland, available for January delivery. Finance rates from 0% APR. Order your 251 Opel and receive a free €500 Dunn Stores gift card. We have an award-winning range of cars and commercials in stock, ready to test drive. Visit Heron Auto on the Killybegs Road, Donegal. Drive with confidence, drive with Heron Auto.
Hi, I'm at the Garda station, but it's nothing. I told this girl I was seeing for a while that I'd put shots of her up online. Shots she sent me, so they're mine, really. I only said I'd do it, but the guards are saying that's a crime now. It's not my fault, Mum. I didn't do anything. I I only said I would.
Threatening to share intimate images is a crime with serious consequences. Contact your local Garda station if you need to report it. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
I am the storm that pounds for hours, for days on one side of your head. I am your migraine. Light blinds. Sound pierces. You can't escape my nausea. If you've lived with me for years, talking to your doctor may help. Learn more at migraineaware.ie, brought to you by Pfizer Healthcare Ireland.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
Mostly cloudy this morning with showery rain spreading east, heavy at times. Now the rain will clear southeastwards through the afternoon with sunny spells and blustery showers following. It'll become increasingly windy through the day with southwest winds increasing strong to near gale and gusty, and later veering west to northwest, further increasing gale force at times in coastal parts. Highest temperatures of 8 to 10 degrees. Kathleen on Facebook says, good morning, Greg, and all at Highland. Had a look at that beautiful car in the shopping centre yesterday, and I could see me driving away in it on the 23rd. Well, Kathleen, I hope you had you've got your tickets, and I might just mention that whilst I'm here, because we do have that beautiful Toyota Yaris Cross Luna. It's worth over 30k, and we're going to give that away on the 23rd of December on this programme. Now, since that was announced, an extra little bit, to say the least, has been added onto the competition, and we're going to be giving away €1,000 per day from next Monday until the 20th, can you believe? So it's €1,000 per day. So effectively it's 11 draws. And if you already bought your ticket, you're in all 11 draws, so you don't have to worry about that. But if you want to enter, now's a good time to do it before Monday, because not only will you be in with the chance of winning that 30,000 plus Toyota Yaris Cross Luna, which is a beauty, and it's down in the Letterkenny Shopping Centre, but also you'll be able to be in with a chance of winning €1,000 every single day. Monday 1,000, Tuesday 1,000, and there's no rollover, there's no you have to answer your phone. It's £1,000 a day. We pull a ticket out if the ticket's number 22222, and that relates to Greg Hughes. I've won the money. We'll contact you and arrange how to get it into your bank account. So as I say, there's no rollover, there's no answer your phone. It's just a clean up 1,000 a day. And that starts on the 9th. So 11 draws. If you want to be in all 11 draws, get your tickets now. They're €15 each, or 5 for 50. Only obviously buy a ticket if you can comfortably afford it, please, and have a bit of fun with it, or gift it to somebody. So it's 1 for 15, 5 for €50. Go on to our website, highlandradio.com. Book your ticket now, and that means you can relax, and from next Monday you're in all 11 draws. If you want to give us a call, by the way, we can help you process it if it suits you better, 07491 25,000. Or like many of you, like to deal with good old cash. Cash is king, isn't it? Well, call up to us here during office hours, and we'll sort your tickets out that way as well. But as I say, if you want to be in all 11 draws, you have until Monday. So you might as well have a punt. Why not? It's up to you, as I say, if you can afford it. Hi, Greg. That's awful about the wee girl with the AI-generated photo. As a photographer, I use Photoshop, amongst others, a lot. And now with the introduction of AI in photography software, I think this issue is going to become more prevalent as it's becoming easier and easier to manipulate images. And indeed, you're spot on. As a photographer, you would know that when you're processing a photo, or maybe even perhaps, you know, I'm sure sometimes photographers who do editing are asked to remove someone from a picture. You know, lots of different things pop up, and it takes a great deal of skill, and it has to be done right. But unfortunately now, in terms of image creation, whereby you can put somebody's head on another person's body, and unfortunately it's sickly. We're talking about a child's head being put on, and I hope on a nude body, effectively. And apparently it's not just this one girl, but her friends have had the same problem as well. I have lots of concerns about this, principally that it's happening at all. I'm going to try and get some information from the guards about what crime is being committed and how one reports this, because I think really now we need to potentially make a big deal of it so people are discouraged from doing this, right? But well, there was something else I was going to say in relation to that. Yeah, it's the kids that maybe this is done to them and they don't say anything because they're ashamed or embarrassed or something. And I would just hate for them to be having that in their head. So maybe it's good that we're talking about it now and we can talk to our young ones. Right, loads to come on the show. Stay where you are. Jerry Adams is coming up after 10. He's talking about his book that's being republished now with some new illustrations and a new foreword. I look forward to chat to him and much more besides after we take a break for the news and obituary notices.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from €40,000 to €600,000 with no hidden fees or transaction charges. Letterkenny Credit Union, 9102127.
Dancing this Friday night, the 6th of December at the Clanry Hotel in Letterkenny with Jerry Guthrie and his band. Special guests David James and Elaine Boyle. Doors open at 9 p.m. Admission €20.
New this week in Home Store and More. All Christmas table linen is all half price. That's right, half price. But better hurry, because when all the half price Christmas table linen is gone, it's gone. Also, all barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are still all half price. But when all the half price barware accessories, Cassia Living giftware and Christmas tree lights are gone, they're definitely gone. Drop by your local Home Store and More. Visit us online at homestoreandmore.ie. Home Store and More. A happy home.
Call of the Wild, Donegal's newest outdoor store, is now open on Main Street, Letterkenny, with the best quality winter jackets, footwear, and everything else you'll need to get outdoors, whatever the weather. Also, a great place to find the perfect Christmas gift. Shop now and you could win back the cost of your purchase. Call of the Wild on Main Street, Letterkenny, also in Sligo and Westport. See callofthewild.ie.
The Private Security Authority is the government body responsible for regulating the private security industry. Every day, licensed security services protect billions of euros worth of goods and ensure the safety and security of thousands of people and businesses. When choosing a security service for your home or business, choose one licensed by the Private Security Authority. If you choose an unlicensed security provider, you could face prosecution. Visit psa-gov.ie for more information and a list of licensed security services.
Transform your home with Hegarty's Home Interiors in Buncrana. Discover a wide selection of stylish furniture and decor to create your perfect space. Our expert team offers personalised advice to match your style and budget. Visit us on Main Street, Buncrana. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. until 6 p.m. Or visit hegartyshomeinteriors.ie. Hegarty's Home Interiors, making homes beautiful since 1946.
Live, on air, online and on the Highland Radio app. This is Highland Radio News.
Good morning, it's 10 o'clock. Donald Kavanagh at the news desk. Ulster University is inviting applications for a funded PhD scholarship into how the defective concrete crisis is impacting business. The lead research supervisor on the project will be Dr. Eileen Doherty, a lecturer at the university. She says while the impact of the crisis on families has been well documented and research from the university has played a major role in quantifying the impact of the crisis in terms of the evidence presented to government, that's not yet been done for business. She says with no scheme yet in place for business and other sectors, it's important that the anecdotal impact of defective concrete on business is now assessed and presented.
We know anecdotally over the last number of years there's issues around insurance cover, there's issues around safety. I mean, businesses don't, how can you plan for the future in a business if you don't know if the building that you're in is safe or is it crumbling around you? So we know anecdotally some of these challenges, but we need to have a rigorous study. We need to rigorously look at this from a research point of view and present these findings to government.
Opposition parties meet later today to discuss potential coalition options in the formation of government. Fianna Fáil has appointed a negotiation steering group to represent the party in talks with other parties and independents. The largest party is said to be expressing a strong interest in the justice portfolio for the new Dáil term. Junior Transport Minister and Fianna Fáil today, James Lawless, wouldn't be drawn on it, but he says policing will be a key focus for the party.
I do think in justice we will be seeking recruitment of more Gardaí. I think have, I suppose, more focus on community policing. That we want a transport police. That's something we've been very clear about all through. I chaired the Justice Committee, called for that number of times. Our Dublin group did.
A manhunt is underway in the US for a gunman who shot dead the CEO of Optum, which has a plant in Letterkenny. Brian Thompson was gunned down in the street as he walked into an investor conference in New York early yesterday morning. His wife claims he was receiving death threats but didn't give specific details. Former FBI agent Terry Rankhorn says, based on CCTV footage, it's clear his killer was a professional.
When he emerges from behind the car, he paces his target. He doesn't run up like an inexperienced amateur killer. And then you can see the weapon malfunction, but it's very clear from his reaction, he knew exactly how to deal with such a malfunction.
Northern Ireland Secretary of State says the British government is starting the process of repealing and replacing the controversial Legacy Act. The laws that changed the way Troubles-era cases were dealt with were brought in by the previous Conservative-led government. Taoiseach and Foreign Affairs Minister Micheál Martin says he notes the Secretary of State's comments on the British government's commitment to repeal and replace the Act. Speaking in the House of Commons last night, Hilary Benn said the Labour Party will keep its promise to change the law.
I am today laying a remedial order under the Human Rights Act to take the first steps to honour that commitment. This order will remedy all of the human rights deficiencies in the Act identified by the Northern Ireland High Court in February.
18-year-old Tiernan Doherty, who was killed in a crash in Inishowen on Sunday, is to be laid to rest today. The teenager from Carndonagh died following the single-vehicle collision in the Ballinlough area. His Requiem Mass takes place this afternoon at Sacred Heart Church, Carndonagh. Students will be allowed to use AI to help in some of their Leaving Cert projects from next year. The use of tools such as ChatGPT will be permitted in the preparation for research projects worth up to 40% in some science and creative subjects. It's part of a senior cycle reform in certain subjects, and all students must quote or reference any use of artificial intelligence. Cassie Lamb is Donegal Regional Officer with the Irish Second Level Students Union. She's welcoming the move. She told the 9 Till Noon show a short time ago that AI will not replace the work of students, but rather enhance their research skills.
We're not using ChatGPT. We're not saying, right, put it into a chat box saying, can you do my whole project for me on this topic? We're actually just getting more key points where we can go into more in depth on the subject or the topic.
There's a fear that people in Donegal don't have faith in government schemes to restore derelict buildings. Councillor Fionn Bradley says there are cases where property owners are opting to proceed with work out of their own pockets rather than applying for the available grants. Despite ongoing campaigns to highlight the different funding schemes for vacant property owners, Councillor Bradley says there are still a lot of misconceptions.
We've seen here in County House and Ufford through various presentations that Donegal has the highest uptake of the grant nationally, so that tells us a number of things. First of all, there are quite a number of derelict and vacant housing buildings here within the county. Second of all, because they're vacant, they could be brought back into use to help with the housing crisis that we now have. And I'm glad that the numbers are so high, but just worried that there is a misconception around maybe the length of time it takes to get an application in, to get it processed and to get monies paid out at the other end of the scale.
Weather forecast mostly cloudy with showery rain spreading, heavy at times, rain clearing through the afternoon, sunny spells and blustery showers following, top temperatures 8 to 10 degrees Celsius. Check all of the day's news on our website, highlandradio.com. Next news is at 11, but for now from the news team, good morning.
The obituary notice is for this Thursday morning, December the 5th. The death has taken place of Henry George Rees, formerly of Milford and Ramelton. A memorial talk will be held on Saturday afternoon at 1 o'clock at the Kingdom Hall of Jehovah's Witnesses, Letterkenny. Everyone welcome. The death has taken place of Frances O'Neill, Upper Main Street, Donegal Town. Her remains will be waked at Tyrconnell Funeral Home, Drumrusky, Donegal Town, today from 3 o'clock until 9 o'clock. Funeral Mass tomorrow morning in St Patrick's Church, Donegal at 11 o'clock, with burial afterwards in Clare Cemetery. Family flowers only, donations in lieu to Coronary Care, Letterkenny University Hospital, Care Faulkner Undertakers. Frances's Requiem Mass can be viewed on the parish webcam, house private. The death has taken place of Alfred John Vance, known as Alfie, Cross Carrigans. Removal from Terence McClintock's funeral home Ballybow Convoy at 2 o'clock this afternoon, going to his late residence. Fiona leaving from there on Saturday afternoon at 1:30, going to Monray Presbyterian Church for 2 o'clock service of Thanksgiving, followed by burial in the family plot in the adjoining graveyard. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu to the Alzheimer's Society, care of any family member or Terence McClintock, funeral director. The death has occurred of Christina Crossan, Brayhead Road, Nixon's Corner, Derry. Respects can be paid from 4 o'clock this afternoon at Kelly's Funeral Home, Oakfield, Rafo, with removal to the Church of the Immaculate Conception to arrive for 6 o'clock to repose overnight. Requiem Mass at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning in the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Killay, with a private cremation in Lakeland's Crematorium, Cavan. Mass can be viewed on newtonclayparish.com. The death has taken place of Frankie Dunn, Mulvey House, Strabane, and formerly of Butcher Street, Strabane, reposing at the home of his nephew Jerry Dunn, 91 Strabane Old Road, Derry. Funeral leaving there this evening at 5:15, going to the Church of the Immaculate Conception, Strabane. Requiem Mass tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock. Interment afterwards in Strabane Cemetery. Family time, please, from 10 o'clock until 11 o'clock. The Requiem Mass can be viewed live via the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Myra Grieve, née Gillen, formerly of Clonee, Dublin, and Letterkenny, County Donegal, reposing at her daughter Caroline's residence in Carberry, County Kildare. Removal this afternoon at 1 o'clock to arrive at St Bridget's Church, Straffan, for 2 o'clock funeral mass, followed by burial in Largan Bryan Cemetery, Maynooth. The funeral mass can be viewed live on the parish webcam. The death has occurred of Rose Doherty, Butcher, Main Street, Kildare. Her remains are reposing at her home. Family time, please, from 11 o'clock until 11 o'clock. Funeral from there tomorrow morning at 10:20, going to St Mary's Church, Bocken, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, with interment afterwards in the adjoining cemetery. Family flowers only, please. Donations in lieu if desired to St Mary's Church, Bocken Restoration Fund, care of any family member or McFeely funeral directors. Rose's funeral mass can be viewed live on kildaffparish.com. And the death has taken place of Anne McGeehan, Ballykieran, Kilmacrennan. Anne's remains are reposing at her late residence. Funeral from there this morning, going to St Columba's Church, Kilmacrennan, for Requiem Mass at 11 o'clock, followed by interment in the adjoining cemetery. The funeral mass can be viewed on churchservices.tv. Family time, please, on the morning of the funeral. For family information and more details regarding wakes and funerals, please go to highlandradio.com.
Highland Radio.
Flowgas do electricity too. And you can get a 24% discount and €300 welcome bonus when you switch your gas and electricity to Flowgas. That's the gas part. And the electricity part. Get our best value dual fuel bundle at flowgas.ie. Flowgas, energy for everyone. T's and C's apply. New customers only. First year cost based on an EAB of €2,694.39. For information on charges, unit rates, standing charge, PSO and carbon tax, see flowgas.ie.
You're very welcome back to the second hour of the 9 till noon show. I just noted there, whilst I was flicking through some stuff during the news and obituary notices, that the UK Met Office have issued an amber weather warning for next Saturday for Northern Ireland. Amber wind warning for Antrim, Armagh, Down, Fermanagh, Tyrone and Derry. Now, such is the way that the two don't collaborate. You'd swear there's going to be no weather in Donegal at all, even though we're in Ulster. But anyway, my point being that if they're issuing this amber weather warning on a Thursday, they're pretty certain about the weather. Nothing from Met Éireann yet, but it's an amber wind warning for our area effectively on Saturday, so we'll keep you updated with that. Some comments here. There are a lot of comments on social media that Nikita Han should be responsible for Mr. Lawrence's legal costs as he was acquitted of rape. My view is that Miss Han made no complaint against Mr. Lawrence until he volunteered a statement to Gardaí saying that he had consensual sex with her. She has no recollection of this, and therefore, if it occurred, as he stated, then it was without her consent and therefore rape. But that was not the finding of the jury, you see. If she had not charged him, her case against McGregor would be very weak. It is obvious McGregor roped in Lawrence. Well, anyway, the thing is McGregor's also covering Lawrence's legal costs. But the bottom line is that Mr. Lawrence was found not liable in the civil case. That's not the same with Conor McGregor, and normally in these things the costs follow the case. So in an ordinary situation, Conor McGregor would be liable for his costs, and Nikita Hand would be liable for Mr. Lawrence's costs. But a lot has been said on social media, and this is where social media is pretty dangerous, by both parties since that. So I don't know if the judge will take that into consideration, and I also don't know if they might take into consideration that Conor McGregor is covering Mr. Lawrence's legal expenses. So, as I say, there's quite an awful lot to figure out there. A caller says, of course we're going to miss the EU targets, as the last two governments have pushed wind turbines which produce energy intermittently, and as such they cannot feed the grid except with 24/7 backup by another source, which in Ireland's case is gas, a fossil fuel. It's no wonder the ESB are building new power stations, as you know the turbines are ineffective. Wind turbines have consistently produced a third of our energy, and we use it. They don't just produce it and it goes into the ether. The problem is that we don't have, an ESB are investing heavily on this, the battery storage to store that wind to use when we need it, and also the grid. A lot of that power can be lost as it's fed back into a grid that needs a lot of investment. Again, the ESB say they're investing in that. But I mean, you know, wind turbines do provide a third of our power a lot of the time. But I take your point, we do need, I would say the backup is actually batteries. Rather than we should be using the batteries rather than the gas. Let me see. There's been 3 collisions out my road in the last 2 months and no signs up saying about deers. It's unsafe for people not familiar with the area. There's been some really quite serious collisions that deer have been involved in that it hasn't really been given the spotlight that it could be given. It can be really, really dangerous, no doubt about that. Now, a couple of things I want to mention before we take a break. Lunchtime Lives are back again today. We're coming to you live on our Facebook page exclusively from Healthwise Pharmacy in Dunloe. We'll be diving into all things Christmas gifting with lots on offer. Take note, lads. From top gift ideas to the latest must-have beauty essentials. So if you want to ask a question, watch it while it's live on the Highland Radio Hub page. And we'll answer those questions directly live there as well. So don't miss it. It's a Facebook Live from Healthwise Pharmacy in Dunloe from 1 p.m. exclusively on the Highland Hub Facebook page. Good afternoon. I'm wondering if you could help us, please. Could you put up a notice regarding our Santa Grotto in Muff Community Park this Sunday, the 8th of December? Santa will be coming through Muff Village at 4:30 p.m, arriving at the Community Play Park at 5 p.m. There's going to be singing, carols, sleigh rides, chocolate fountain, and a visit with Santa. Adults free, children a £5. So that is up in Muff this Sunday. There you go. Something for you to do. Now, I've been asked to mention a change of venue for an event, and it was due to take place. So I'll just read it from the top. It's invited lecture suitable for public and medical practitioners. When the doctor becomes the patient, my successful battle with breast cancer. Dr. Sinead Hanley, breast radiologist, Adelaide. It's in the large conference room, Letterkenny University Hospital, on Thursday, today, between 7 and 8 p.m. Admission is free. Right, I have to take a quick break. I'll be back with Margaret in a couple of minutes. Stay tuned.
The county's #1 talk show, The 9 till Noon Show on Highland Radio.
It's time for Vision Ireland Bingo on Highland Radio.
It's Thursday, the 5th of December. Jackpot day. You're playing for the jackpot prize of €8,200 on the pink sheet. The reference number is S4. It's game number 49. The jackpot number is number 4. This number can come out in any position for the next 10 numbers drawn. And now, here are your daily numbers: 57, 70, 53, 17, 11, 59, 37, 31, 19, and finally 66. Phone your claim to 9104833 before midnight, leaving your name, contact number and the name of the shop where you purchased your book, and we'll call you back the next working day. Get all your Vision Ireland Bingo information at highlandradio.com.
It's Ireland's greatest live show. The Three Amigos, Jimmy Buckley, Robert Mizell and Patrick Feeney, are back on tour. Get ready for a truly amazing experience full of laughter, music and song. See the Three Amigos live Tuesday, January 21st, Clonry Hotel, Letterkenny. Tickets price $39.50, now available at hotel reception and ticketmaster.ie, where booking fees may apply.
Happy Christmas from the Three Amigos!
TFI Local Link has enhanced bus services around the Inishowen Peninsula, including routes 952, 954, 957 and 966, and new route 959. The routes operate up to 7 daily return services and offer peak time and evening services, as well as providing improved connectivity to Airfort Dunanal, ATU Donegal and the Ulster University. We're Transport for Ireland. We're Transport for you. See locallinkdsl.ie. Brought to you as part of the Connecting Ireland Rural Mobility Plan.
Ho, 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 ho. Santa Claus speaking.
It's me, Santa, your trusty elf. I've got an urgent message from Cooney's Christmas shop.
Oh, my golly goodness. What's happening at Cooney's?
Well, Santa, they've gone all out this year. Their Christmas decor is bigger and better than ever.
Visit Cooney's Christmas shop, Letterkenny Retail Park, and feel the magic of Christmas. Santa approved.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, offering low-rate car loans with fast approval. Apply online at letterkennycu.ie or in office today.
And you're welcome back. I'm joined on the programme by Margaret now, and I really feel for you, Margaret, because, you're trying to do a good thing and you've ended up on the wrong end of it, really. Good morning to you.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm okay. So what happened?
I was renting out, and I always take it to the charity shop. So I was renting out all these handbags, but my own good handbag with my jewellery was on the floor as well. So read them all out and took them down to the place down there before you go into Strabane. So I never bothered, because I wasn't looking for the bag or I wasn't looking for anything. But 2 weeks ago I was looking for a bit of jewellery, and I searched and I couldn't get it. And then I searched for the bag, and the bag was gone. I must have put the bag into the bin bag that I had the bags in, and took it on to Strabane.
So you were gathering up handbags to give to the charity shop, and you've inadvertently picked up the bag with the jewellery in it and put it in there as well. The problem was this is 2 months ago, and you left it in in the wee hut in Strabane beside Dolan's Money for Clothes. You haven't been able to contact them. I don't know with the passage of 2 months.
Because they're closed.
Right, okay.
They're closed. I was down, but, and I said to contact Facebook, but I'm not on Facebook,
Yeah.
So they don't open them now in Strabane.
Okay.
It was taken away in a van, more likely. But, I was thinking, whenever they would open that bag and see that there, would they not think, oh, there's a mistake here, like?
I suppose, though, how do they contact you? Even if they did?
That's right.
They've no way of getting
See, I have no numbers for them at all, like.
I get you.
And the last day I went down on Tuesday, but it was closed up.
What kind of jewellery was in the bag, Margaret?
Oh, there was a bracelet, very expensive bracelet.
Yeah.
And then there was 3 other wee bracelets. So one of them, and it was 18 karat gold. It would be a rose colour.
Mm-hmm.
And there was 2 chains, one with an emerald, and the other one was a sort of a wine colour on one side and a dark blue on the other side. And the bracelet I'm talking about, the expensive one, I wouldn't know it because there was a thing put on it when it was bought, a safety thing, So.
We managed to sort of get in contact to get, and unfortunately it's not good news, Margaret. We tried to get in contact with them. In fact, we did, just to find out if anything like this had come to their knowledge. It's Cash for Clothes Strabane. And they messaged us back and said, hi, no, unfortunately not. Items are not donated to us. We buy them as we are Cash for Clothes. there's such a quick turnaround of clothes. We always say, please check your items before bringing them to us. All items are exported out of the country. So unfortunately, we can't help, really. Sorry. It's gone,
Yeah.
Margaret. I'm sorry to be
It's
the bearer
gone,
of bad
yes.
news.
Yeah, well, at least I know,
Yeah.
you know.
It's
I know now.
It's a real
like
shame, and you trying to do something good as well. No, they're not gone through and sold locally. They're shipped off out of the country. It seems.
All right. Well, thank you very much for taking my call,
I'm
Greg.
sorry. I'm not sure if your insurance might help you in this regard or anything. But
No, you see, we had it insured away whenever I got it,
Yeah.
05,
Okay.
you know, but then it fell through.
You let it lapse. I get you. We've all done that.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Margaret, and you doing a nice thing for someone, and now you've lost your jewellery. I'm really sorry about that, Margaret, but they say, as I say, that they've no trace of it, and they turn things around really, really quickly, and this stuff is sold on outside the country, and then, of course, that creates the money for charity. So I'm sorry to not have better news for you, Margaret. Okay, I've lost Margaret there anyway, but I can imagine. Not nice to hear. Okay. Just to remind you, this week we are giving away a €130 Pamper Me Please package for the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa. It costs you nothing to enter. But what you will be able to enjoy is an aromatic steam session and cocoon room. It lasts 2.5 hours, by the way. A hot towel foot and back massage, or cleanse, sorry. A stress relieving back massage, a Yonka facial with face and scalp massage, a pressure point foot massage, and snooze room relaxation time with refreshments. And it's really quite simple. All you have to do to be in with a chance of winning this prize tomorrow is answer the following question. Which Christmas song mentions a one-horse open sleigh? Is it A, Jingle Bells, or B, White Christmas? So text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000. And all of you who've entered over the course of the week, you're going into a draw drum, and the winner will be picked at random tomorrow. So it could be someone who enters tomorrow, or it could be the first person that entered on Monday. It's completely random. And also, too, what's going on this week, it's an association with Cadbury Secret Santa. You know, they've got 22,000 bars to give away this year. And to celebrate the return of Secret Santa, we've got 2 huge hampers of chocolate to give away tomorrow, plus a €50 voucher every day. So we've already had a winner on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday. All you need to do is tell us why you would want to surprise someone with a Secret Santa bar this year. And indeed, if you won the overall thing, it could be a hamper. Why do they deserve it? What good reason do you have to surprise someone with a Cadbury Secret Santa bar? So tell us, who in your life deserves the Secret Santa bar this year? Text or WhatsApp a short story, you know what I mean, a couple of lines as to who and why. And you could win a €50 voucher today. And who's not to say that you couldn't win the 2 big hampers of chocolate tomorrow? The daily prize is 50, as I mentioned. At the end of the show on Friday, all the texters from Monday to Friday go into an overall draw, and the winning person wins an additional €50 voucher. And there's a Cadbury hamper worth €100 for them, and a Cadbury hamper worth €100 for the person they nominated. So keep an eye out, because it's year 7 of Cadbury Secret Santa, where you can send a Cadbury chocolate bar to someone in secret for free. The campaign is centered around sending chocolate secretly to someone very, very special. Now, you'll see QR codes around the place. You simply scan it. Some phones you have to download a scanner, some it's built in, and then you can send a secret chocolate bar to someone. All right, very good indeed. Councillor Jerry McMonagle is Mayor of the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District. He joins us on the programme now. Jerry, thanks for your time today.
Good morning, Greg, and good morning to all the listeners.
Now, a lot of people would have heard the news as it was carried widely of the tragic death of Brian Thompson, CEO of Letterkenny-based company Optum. He was shot at least twice as he walked to an investors conference at Manhattan Hotel on Wednesday morning. But as I was going to say, you know, he was being reported as the CEO of America's largest health insurance company, and maybe then people realised a little time later of the local connection. And I understand staff locally have been briefed on the situation. It's an awful case.
It's a terrible case, and when you see it sort of playing out on your television screen, and indeed it's on a lot of online. So, you know, today our thoughts and prayers are very much with Brian's family and friends and close work colleagues, and as we know here, it started off as United Healthcare here in Donegal, and it's now transformed into Optum, and they employ somewhere in the region of 1,600 to 2,000 people, and up to 2,400 people across the island. But it's an awful tragedy for all who knew him, and I'm sure the Optum family in Letterkenny today are grieving. They would have had very fond memories of Brian, who regularly visited the site in Letterkenny, and when he was here, he loved to play a bit of golf and all, and made a lot of friends. And we're certainly very sad today, and we send our condolences and sympathies to his family and wide circle of friends.
No, I wasn't aware he was. The staff would have been so personally familiar with him, and he's so familiar with this part of the world. But as you say, they're a regular visitor.
Yeah, look, he was here this year earlier on, and I mean, the one thing about the American companies who come to invest, they normally do team meetings, and they invite the staff in, they have their say, and they have introduction days, and and the CEOs is no different to any member of staff. They value their staff, and they relate to them regularly, and when they come here on trips, and also Brian would have met with the Donegal County Council staff as well. And it's a very sad loss, and I know from talking to some friends of mine who were in Optum this morning, they were totally shocked, and they had very fond words and memories of Brian when he was here.
Yeah, but it remains an ongoing investigation. Obviously, it appears he was specifically targeted. There's no motive at this point as to why he might have been specifically targeted, and the person responsible is still at large with a €10,000 or $10,000 reward out for that person. So as I say, it's still quite a mystery as to why Mr. Thompson was targeted in this way.
Yeah, I mean, there'll be all sorts of suggestions now, and I'm sure that the police in New York are following every line of inquiry, and I hope the person who is responsible for this is apprehended soon. It's unnerving when you think that it happened so early in the morning, and they were able to get away, and then they're now still at large, and obviously there will be these theories that this was just not a random killing, that it was maybe targeted, and it was particularly against Mr. Thompson and United Healthcare. So I would just hope that the police investigations are successful, and we get to the bottom of this. But again, I think we here in Ireland, and particularly in Donegal, have lost a very good friend, and we would just, as I say, as mayor of the municipal district, extend my sympathies to all who knew him and to the local workforce.
Any consideration of a book and condolence or something along those lines, just to recognise the relationship he had, of course, with the county, but also in terms of the local staff?
Yeah, that's something that we could certainly discuss, and I'm sure that the workforce in Optum would like to do something like that as well, and maybe at their workplace and out in Crematorium Road there, that they might do that. If it's a council, would have no problem doing that as well, and just open it up at our local public service centre, and people to come in and register their sympathies and condolences. Yeah,
certainly might
they are a very big employer and have been.
Yeah, it might give his family some comfort as they grieve to learn the impact he had. Far beyond his immediate space. All right, Councillor, thank you very much indeed for your time. Councillor Jay McMonigal there, who's Mayor of Letterkenny Milford Municipal District.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today.
There's nothing that says Christmas like the sound of bells. But there's one bell that stands out above all, that captures the true spirit of Christmas. Because that's the bell that says family and friends have arrived to share this special season. The best way to celebrate Christmas is with them, and the best way to connect with them is Bus Éireann. So this Christmas, let's get the bells ringing. Let Bus Éireann connect you to Christmas. Bus Éireann, proudly part of the Transport for Ireland network. To plan your Christmas connections, see buséireann.ie.
Enjoy real savings this Christmas at SuperValue. Like half-price SuperValue Signature Taste Fresh Irish Hampshire Pork Loin. SuperValue Fresh Irish Eye of the Round, now save 33%. And pick up 7-Up, Pepsi and Club 18-can pack selected range, now €10. Share the magic this Christmas with SuperValue. DRS applies.
The Mother and Baby Institution's payment scheme is now open for applications. This scheme provides financial payments and health supports to eligible people who spend time in mother and baby and county home institutions in Ireland. There's a straightforward application process in place to help everyone access the benefits that they are entitled to. To find out more, visit gov.ie/payment scheme or call the helpline at 01 522 9992, an initiative of the Government of Ireland.
Spoil someone with a beautiful fragrance this Christmas from McGee's Chemist Letterkenny. Choose by designer, budget or celebrity. Top names like Chanel, Lancôme, Christian Dior and Jimmy Choo. Also great prices on Yves Saint Laurent, Prada and so many more. The best fragrant gift sets available this year can also be found in McGee's Chemist Main Street Letterkenny and online at mcgees.ie. McGee's, where the best costs less.
Making the move away from diesel? Don't get confused. Get excited at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Experience the power of choice. From our unrivaled hybrid range with no plugging in, to plug-in hybrids and the fully electric BZ4X, we have the right car for you. With incredible offers, including power-up boosters of up to €2,500, make the move at Kelly's Toyota Letterkenny and Mount Charles. Toyota, built for a better world. T's and C's apply.
So, as we read a little earlier on, Donegal could have its first crematorium after major plans for the facility were lodged. The applicant is Michael Morning, and he's seeking to provide a crematorium within his proposed funeral home at Carnamugga, Letterkenny, which was granted planning permission in August. Councillor Paul Canning is the architect on the planning of the crematorium in Letterkenny, and he joins us on the programme now. Good morning, Paul. Thanks for your time. Can you hear me, Paul? No, okay. I'll come back to Paul in a moment. He doesn't seem to be able to hear me, but I'll kick him out and bring him back in and see how we get on there. If you have any views on that, by the way, 086 60 25,000 is the WhatsApp and text number, or you can call us on 074 91 25,000. Paul, I wonder, can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. Greg, can you hear me?
Yes, loud and clear. Right, I was just saying to the listeners there, you're the architect on this planning for the crematorium in Letterkenny. I think, you know, there have been efforts to establish a crematorium in Donegal before. People who've availed of services outside of the county know it's something of a trek, and I think there'd be a broad, for those inclined to go this way, there'd be a broad support for a crematorium in the county.
Yeah, that'll be right enough. The situation in relation to this crematorium, the applicant has a funeral home up at Carnamugga, up there beside Hegarty's garage, for a better word. But the problem with it is it has got mica, so he has to move from there. So he purchased land up at the same location. We applied for planning permission for a funeral home. We improved the facilities. We have two prayer rooms, for a better word, and a family preparation room, etc., etc. And we have about 60 car parking spaces up there, so there will be a very good building up there and a good system and a good. So at that point in time, then it was decided to allow enough room for a crematorium. Now, a crematorium, for the machine for a crematorium, the machine itself, you could fit the machine into 2 sitting rooms. So it's not as big as you could imagine, you know. So there's area within that building that actually has storage. So we allow that if we get planning, we put the machine in. If we don't, we have the storage, right? So there is going to be no extra. We have the planning for the building. The traffic is actually going up there anyway to the funeral home. So all of the preparation is being done up there anyway, and it's what we're saving then is the person then that wants to go to Cavan. We want to sort of stop that scenario. where they just move next door. And that's the basic.
In terms of sort of what is what I'm trying to say is in terms of a crematorium, right? What is different? I mean, obviously, there's smoke and what have you. I know in the past for crematorium applications in different places, people weren't sort of comfortable with the notion of it close to them. But the fact that this is already an established area for a funeral home, so deceased are there in any case. And in terms of, I don't know how you deal with the process of the fumes or whatever might come from the process. Like, is that dealt with, or how does that work? Or is that where you might need to allay people's concerns?
Yeah, that's dealt with. The situation, and it's an automatic presumption that everybody will have that there'll be smoke, fumes, whatever, you know what I mean? But the situation with it's a high tech machine up to date. Like, these machines are over £1 million to purchase, and they have carbon filters within them. And in relation to that, what the small amount of smoke that comes out of them is actually O2. So it's stuff you could put in your tea, So that aspect, and that is the only the situation with it. If God forbid, if me and you was cremated going through the process, we would be if we died in the morning, we could be taken up there, and we would be in that building. We'd be embalmed first and washed, and we would be dressed, and we'd be put into a coffin. That coffin then would be sitting and display basically for the people, the family to come in, have their prayers, give their condolences, all of that. Then what happens then after that is that coffin can stay there for the wake, or that coffin can go home for the wake. But what happens then is, whenever you go into the process, the actual coffin goes into the machine, and the machine burns at 800 degrees. But coffin and everything is burned, right? And then the scenario then is the bones is the only thing that doesn't burn at that heat. Everything else burns at that heat. But the heat from the machine itself actually heats the building as well. So it does. So it works a lot of ways, right? But what happens after the bones, and the bones are actually crushed, and that's what you get back in the urn. And in relation to the actual, to make sure that you're getting the person that went in one end that comes in, there's actually a number goes in. It's a fire clay that goes in along with the coffin, and that makes sure that the identification of the person is 100%.
Okay.
Now, you only get that the day, whenever you get the ashes, the day after. So you do. So for a person that is going down to Cavan at the minute, they have to do a double run, because they have to go down with the coffin today, and they have to go back down for the ashes to bring them home. So it's to save all that for people, and they're at the most stressful time of their lives. That's all it is about. And I would say, roughly speaking, there are probably 3 or 4 people per week.
Well, you know what? Stay where you are, because we can get an insight on that side of it from Pascal Blake, a funeral director who for a long time has been talking about the need for such a facility, and the need for greater graveyard space too for people who wish to be interned. There is quite a demand for cremation, Pascal. 1 in 3 almost of your clients seeking cremation.
Yeah, first of all, good morning, Greg, and to Paul. I, as an independent funeral director, would see the difference in the demand now. It has got much greater for us that do the facility of going to Cavan for cremation, because first of all, it's the nearest crematorium for us. But I, in my practice, have seen a significant change in the last period of time, and that when a crematorium starts off, it would start at the low side of about 10%, then go to 30%, and then much years later, it's 50% when it's established. But I would say at the moment, it's 30%.
But if
demand.
if a crematorium was based locally, the demand then increases. That's what we've seen in the past.
Yes, most definitely. That's the history of crematoriums. And I would see myself now, in the last number of weeks, I've been up to Cavan on quite a number of times, and you would be maybe 3 times a week or 2 times a week. And that is a big increase because a lot of people are opting for cremation. Greg.
Yeah, stay there because another funeral director is joining us now, Kieran Rorty, because, Kieran, you would have similar demand, I'd imagine, but based in the west of the county particularly, you have to add an extra hour and a half, maybe even 2 hours, depending on traffic, onto that journey to and from Cavan.
Yeah, good morning, Greg. Yeah, from our point of view here in West Donegal, if we leave for Cavan, we're talking about a 3.5-hour journey, and return is probably about 7 hours. So that'd be an enormous benefit for us in West Donegal if there was a crematorium in Letterkenny. And as Pascal said there, it is getting very popular and getting very common now. Even since I started, I see a big demand for cremations now compared to the way it used to be. And no better man to run it than Michael Morning. I'm dealing with them for the last 15 years, and they give great service, and anything's no better men to run the place.
And Kieran, just in relation to the people you work with, your clients, generally speaking, if they decided if they want to be cremated, or can that conversation happen after the person is deceased, and then they say, going to Cavan, we'll go for a burial instead. What is the sort of attitude? Is it people have their minds made up normally?
Yeah, the deceased usually has that, all sorted before they pass away. From my point of view, anyway, that they always seem to be there going with their wishes, their final wishes that they want to be. It's not really, the family that decides that. It's usually the person that has passed away has decided that before they pass, that they want to be cremated.
But you're also seeing a steady increase, Kieran, and I'm sure if there were such a facility in Donegal, you, like Pascal, would see demand grow for such a service.
Yeah, I would say that now. I can see the demand growing. Surely, if it was in Letterkenny, they would say, 3.5 hours is a long journey from our end of the county here. Yeah. And, if there was a place in Letterkenny, it's only 40 minutes away. I think it would increase the cremations a lot more. All
right, Kieran, thanks very much indeed. I do appreciate it. Kieran Rorty there. Pascal, back to you briefly. I mean, I suppose to, people's attitude to death and religion, and I suppose, a more diverse community, the country's changing and demands are changing.
It is changing very much, even since I started over 30 years ago, Greg, in relation to the organising of a cremation. Like Cavan is good, it's excellent. Declan Finnegan runs a very good operation there, and I know Kieran said there it's 3.5 hours from his area, but like Letterkenny would be 2 hours. But the advantage in that in Cavan is that with the person that's going to be cremated, that on the day you can have your service, your mass, your service of Thanksgiving, and then be able to tell the family that the service and the cremation will all take place in the one day. Yeah. And years gone by, you had to wait maybe 3 or 4 days if you were travelling to Belfast or indeed to Dublin or other crematoriums.
Yeah, it's interesting. I
must give full...
Yes, sorry. Go ahead. No, probably important what you want to say there. Go ahead.
No, I just wanted to say that I must give full credit to the Morning brothers, Michael, and his proposal, and I'm absolutely delighted to see that he has got the planning permission for a new funeral home, because the demand of that is very great at the moment as well, and the service that is provided there, because you're going to have the embalming suite as well, and as Paul alluded to, the reposing rooms and family facilities and 60 parking facilities as well. So it's all very good, and for Letterkenny. And Greg, if I may say, and we are all aware of grave space being so scarce.
That's a reality, isn't it? It's literally finding a space to bury someone now sometimes.
Yeah, and the communal one was a big one, because 10 years ago in 2014, when I finished up as mayor of Letterkenny, we were working on that at that time to get a grave space, and the talk is still going on, but we haven't got that.
And this text, I think, sums up to what a lot of people might be thinking. Hi, Greg. I'm delighted to see a crematorium planned in Letterkenny, as I wish to be cremated, and I would rather my family didn't have to travel half the country to carry out my final wishes. So it's kind of interesting that the living are thinking in that way as well, thinking on the travel that might be experienced by their loved ones and friends. Pascal, thanks very much for your time. Take care of yourself.
Thanks for the opportunity. Okay, thank you, Greg.
All right, bye-bye. Pascal Blake, Funeral Director. So, I mean, I suppose, Paul, strong endorsements there from two funeral directors. What's the planning process now? How long is it to be considered?
Well, it'll take sorry, Greg. It'll take 6 weeks to 8 weeks. You know, there is a process where the people can put in submissions in relation to it, and that happens the first 5 weeks. And then what happens is the planning, and now the planning consult with everybody. They consult with the traffic, the roads engineers. They also consult with the Environmental Protection Agency, the EPA, and they will have stringent tests done throughout the lifetime of the crematorium. So all of that, the environmental side is above board, and it will remain above board. There will be no concerns for the general public, because a lot of our crematoriums in the country are in the middle of major cities and major towns. They're in the middle of them.
Okay, well, we'll see. The process will be gone through now. For now, though, Paul Canning, who's the architect on this planning application, thank you very much for your time.
Thank you very much, Greg. Thank you.
Bye-bye. Take care of yourself. Right, Eamon's an atheist. Hi, Eamon. Good morning to you.
Yes, Greg. How are you getting on?
I'm doing good. So, as an atheist, is this good news? This is the way you would like to go?
I think it's great, to tell you the truth. I attended one of my brother-in-law up in Roselawn, Belfast, and it was a lovely ceremony. So it was, and no bother with that. And the only option a lot of people have is go down to
St. Cavan, isn't it?
The place in Cavan.
Yeah.
Down to Cavan. So it's an awful trek down for people, and then back down again if you have to collect the ashes. And up here, as I say, as an atheist, I can't get buried in any of the churchyards here. I think, as far as I understand, the nearest is the city cemetery in Derry.
Which is not ideal for anyone you might leave behind, Eamon.
No, well, it's not ideal, but it's not too bad. It's a lot better than having to go to Cavan. Nothing against Cavan.
No, and you'll not be too worried about it anyway, but I know what you're saying. So you're welcoming this. You think this is a good development for people, like-minded people with your mindset?
It's great.
Yeah,
I think it's great. And it was actually it's long before its time. Nobody needed it.
Yeah, indeed. All right, Eamon, well, hopefully neither you or I will need these facilities anytime soon.
Sorry, you broke up there a wee bit.
I'm saying I hope neither you or I will need these facilities anytime soon. Thanks for calling.
Well, no bother at all. Thanks, Greg.
All right, take care of yourself. That's Eamon. And there's a sizable proportion of the population that are atheists, and that's an opportunity for them. In relation to a crematorium in Letterkenny, could it potentially add to the current traffic congestion chaos around town? Well, there's already these premises, funeral homes in and around these places, and there'll be removals or wakes in these facilities in these areas anyway. So I'm not sure how it might add to the situation. Maybe there'd be more traffic for a funeral. I don't know, but that's all considered as part of the planning process, and I'm sure there's estimates on numbers and impact on traffic and what have you. Always best to go through a planning application if you have any concerns and see if they're addressed in that, or if not, there are processes whereby you can raise your concerns.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Discover a new standard in healthcare at Greenview Medical Centre, Letterkenny. For routine checkups or urgent concerns, Greenview Medical Centre offers children's consultations, referrals, prescriptions and specialised male and female healthcare. Don't wait to get the care you deserve. Book now at greenviewmedicalcentre.ie or call 074 920 2070. Open Monday to Friday, 8 a.m. to 6 p.m. Greenview Medical Centre, Riverside Retail Park, Letterkenny. A new health horizon.
Farm incomes forecast to rise in 2025. In this week's Irish Farmers Journal, as beef and lamb prices boom, latest Teagasc data shows farm incomes set to recover. Suckler scheme money on the way to 20,000 farmers. BIS and ANC balancing payments hit accounts. Exclusive machinery guide with all the 2025 specs and price information you need to know. Up to 20% extra slurry storage needed on dairy farms. Plus how to celebrate Christmas without overspending. All inside this week's Irish Farmers Journal, on sale now.
At Hidden Hearing right now, get up to €2,000 off state-of-the-art hearing aids, even if you don't qualify for PRSI. Visit hiddenhearing.ie today. T's and C's apply.
Stay warm for less with your local Homeland this winter. Willow Warm briquettes, buy 5 bales, get 1 free. 10 kg wood pellets, buy 10 bags, get 1 free. Flue gas, £25 butane gas, only €27.99. All this and more. Shop in-store or online at homeland.ie. Local and nationwide delivery available.
Have you got your tickets for the Highland Radio Christmas concert? Get ready for a night of great music on Monday, December the 9th in the Mount Erigal Hotel, Letterkenny. You can enjoy an incredible lineup with Mike Denver and his band, John McNichol, Jim Devine, Donna Taggart, Owen Mack and me, David James. Get your tickets now at the outlet at highlandradio.com, Alexander's Ballot Buffet, the Cope Dunlow, the Mount Erigal Hotel, Simpsons Bar Carndonagh, or give us a call on 074 91 25,000. Don't miss this Christmas cracker.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Bally Buffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
So mostly cloudy this morning with showery rain spreading east, heavy at times. That rain will clear southeastwards through the afternoon with sunny spells and blustery showers following. It'll become increasingly windy through the day with southwest winds increasing strong to near gale and gusty. Later veering west to northwest. Temperatures 8 to 10 degrees. And just a note for you again that the Met Office in England, in Britain, has issued a amber weather warning for all of Ulster, the 6 counties of Ulster, if you get where I'm coming from. So it'll be interesting to see if Met Éireann follows suit. Stephanie Crossan is sister of Sean Crossan, whose mobile home was damaged in a fire in Glengad on Monday evening. Devastating, Stephanie, for the family when you see your home and your belongings going up in smoke, literally.
Morning, Greg. Yes, thank you for having us on. Yes, it's absolutely been devastating, but in all fairness, there's been light at the end of the tunnel with all the kindness people have shown. So I hope maybe that I could speak on behalf of Bernie this morning, as Bernie is still in shock and is still feeling a bit numb. If that's all right, Greg, please.
Please do. Take your time. Yeah, go ahead.
Perfect. Thank you. So, I just would like to give people a wee bit of background again about Sean and Bernie, just again because the kindness that they have shown and for all the donations, just to explain who Bernie and Sean is. So Sean, he's my brother. He's a fisherman. He's a hard worker. He works off Portland Pier. He fishes crabs and lobsters. So he'd be away very early in the morning. So you're chatting about 4 o'clock. Bernie, she works, again, a hard worker, works in Fanad. She has an hour and a half commute from Glengad to Fanad, but nevertheless, never complains. She just does her work. So they have 2 kids, Abby, who was 10, and then Kayla, who was 2. So Abby wasn't actually with them that weekend, or she actually wasn't there on Monday, but Kayla was. So basically how the day went, like any ordinary day, they got up. Sean got up at 4 o'clock and went off to fish. Bernie, she got up around 6, because again, for the long commute, she had to drop Kayla off at the babysitter, as they normally do, went off to work. That was grand. Sean comes in then around 3:30, and they're living in a mobile, Greg. They're saving for a house because, you know what I mean? They want to save for a house. They don't really want to rent.
Of course, yeah.
Yeah, because of the prices. So they were living in the mobile because it was down in my home house, so it was down in a wee field. So they could basically, save up. So it was all going good. They've been loving it now over a year, and there was no problems. They have a wee stove in it. And Sean obviously went onto the mobile when he got on from fishing, and he noticed it was cold. So, like any good parent, he thought, right, he needs to go collect the child from the babysitter. So he lit the fire, like he normally done. And that was grand. He went off then to Carndonagh to the babysitter. And when he was collecting Kayla then from the babysitter, his phone started ringing. But Sean would be a bit like me. He wouldn't, if you're talking to somebody, I would never answer the phone in front of somebody. I just think it's bad manners.
Yep.
So I kept ignoring it. And then it kept ringing and ringing and ringing. And then the person says, like, you need to answer it. There's something not right. So when Sean then answered the call, it was a neighbour ringing to say, your mobile is on fire. Oh, wow. So you could imagine his heart just sank. But he did. He got in the car and he drove down to Glengad again. And by the time he got to Glengad, I have to praise the neighbours down Glengad. They are unreal. Kevin, John, Kieran, Rory, Patrick, they were all there in harm's way to try and save the mobile. They were putting themselves in danger.
Yeah, but I presume there's gas bottles and stuff around the place.
Yeah, that's it. But they put themselves in danger to get rid of all that out of the way. Right. So obviously it would explode. So fair play. I have to thank them so much. So basically, all they could do then, once they had that done, is wait for the fire brigade to come. And then, obviously, by the time the fire brigade came, Greg, it was destroyed. There wasn't one
And I
picture.
presume their valuables, passports, knickknacks,
all
keepsakes
that,
gone.
Keys, car keys, and all that there.
Yeah.
But even as Bernie has said to me, it's the wee things we're having Kayla. She has the name tag you get when they're a baby. She kept that in her first baby grower. So it's not even, yes, valuables definitely, but even his memories, they're lost. So
and
I can understand why
were the early Christmas shoppers, I wonder?
Absolutely, yes, of course.
Okay.
Yes,
So
that was all there too. Yes, that's all gone. But what has been able to lift them is the response from the community. I have to thank so much again to Ronald Boggs and Helen Stewart. Helen Stewart has an Airbnb in Malin and has kindly let Sean, Bernie and Kayla and Abby able to stay over there now until January. Okay. Because obviously it's an Airbnb, she will need to let it out, but she's given that free of charge.
Brilliant.
So I have to say a massive thank you to Helen Stewart. She is an angel in disguise.
And just in the last couple of minutes we have, in terms of sort of long-term rental accommodation, or are they looking to put a mobile home back on the site, or are they looking for somewhere to rent? What's the story there?
No, I don't think a mobile now, obviously Bernie is petrified, and I fully will understand that. I think maybe down the long road, maybe, them log cabins, maybe, Greg?
Yeah.
Something like that there, because again, as you know, everything's extremely expensive, so you can't really just go off and buy a house these days because the prices are crazy. So a log cabin is within their range. But at that, after the fire, it was simple things then, for Bernie, she didn't even have pajamas. So God bless Emma McDade down Glengad, she donated pajamas and toys and all for them to tide them over that evening.
But if people want to, people have been incredibly generous, and I know you've thanked them. But also in terms of GoFundMe, if anyone wants to support the family, get their stuff back together, because when it's all gone, you don't realise what you have, if you know what I mean. There's the GoFundMe page, and you can search Bug Family in Need. But just finally, so many people have already, Stephanie, and it's very encouraging, isn't it? In the darkest of times, we see the best of our wonderful community.
Oh, absolutely, and especially we've been shown in this week how there's been horrendous with deaths and accidents, and people that can still pull together and help one another. It has definitely given Bernie and Sean and all our family positivity and light, and that they can some way enjoy some sort of Christmas, and that Kayla and Abby can get round. There was even a Christmas tree donated, but then we small things now that will bring lift the heart.
Okay. Brilliant. All right, lovely stuff. Listen, thanks for that. Pass on our best wishes to them, and it's clear they're encouraged by it. Yes, go ahead.
Can I quickly say,
yes.
Greg, I was on your show 3 years ago in relation to my son Nathan. He was getting bullied badly at school, and can I just let you know that being on your show, our lives totally were transformed. We were backed into a corner, and because we got onto your show, we have now a happy child. So I just want to say a heartfelt thank you so much to your wonderful show and to your wonderful crew, because it has meant the world to us, because our child then got to have a happy last few years of school, and he is now a very happy, healthy child. He's nearly 18 in February. So I just want to say happy Christmas. Thank you so much. And if you want a free classes, come down to Balance and Malin. I will give you more than enough free classes.
Oh, you're the best. All right, Stephanie. Listen, that's beautiful
Thank
to
you
hear,
so much.
right? That's
Take care.
actually, that last
Bye.
comment's made an awful lot to me. Meant an awful lot to me. Thank you so very much indeed.
I appreciate you so much. Thank you.
All right, take care.
With all the stories that matter across the Northwest, it's Greg Hughes on the 9 to Noon Show on Highland Radio.
And we are a little late. It's a minute and a half past 11. Let's get that news update now, and it's over to Michaela Clark.
Thanks, Greg. Good morning. Ulster University is inviting applications for a funded PhD scholarship into how the defective concrete crisis is impacting businesses. The lead research supervisor on the project will be Dr. Eileen Doherty, a lecturer at the university. She says while the impact of the crisis on families has been well documented and research from the university has played a major role in quantifying the impact of the crisis in terms of the documentation presented to government. The Irish Fiscal Advisory Council is urging the next government to get the state's budgetary policy back on track. It's warning injecting phenomenal levels of corporation tax into a strong economy is risky. IFAC says a key risk for Ireland is that policy has become de-anchored with spending increasing rapidly. The Catholic Diocese of Derry and Raphoe may soon be amalgamated. Such a move would bring the Catholic Diocese into line with the Church of Ireland Diocese of Derry and Raphoe. The Irish Catholic newspaper is reporting this morning that while the Vatican is anxious to proceed with the amalgamation, there is opposition among bishops locally. A manhunt is continuing for a gunman who shot dead the CEO of Letterkenny-based Optum. Brian Thompson was gunned down in the street as he walked into an investor conference in New York early yesterday morning. Keirlock of the Letterkenny Milford Municipal District, Councillor Jerry McMonigal, says Mr Thompson was a regular visitor to the town. Northern Ireland's Secretary of State says the British government is starting the process of repealing and replacing the controversial Legacy Act. The laws that changed the way Troubles era cases were dealt with was brought in by the previous Conservative Party-led government. Taoiseach and Minister for Foreign Affairs Micheál Martin says he notes the Secretary of State's comments on the British government's commitment to repeal and replace the Legacy Act. Students will be allowed to use AI to help in some of their Leaving Cert projects from next year. The use of tools like ChatGPT will be permitted in the preparation for research projects worth up to 40% in some science and creative subjects. Cassie Lamb, Donegal Regional Officer with the Irish Second Level Student Union, has welcomed the move. And a wind warning for Donegal has been upgraded to orange as Storm Dara approaches. Strong winds, which may cause damage to power lines, fallen trees and very difficult travelling conditions, are expected from 10 o'clock tomorrow night. A status yellow rain alert, meanwhile, will bring the risk of localised flooding to Donegal from 10 o'clock tomorrow morning until 10 o'clock on Saturday morning. Those are the latest headlines. We'll be back with an update again at 12.
Thank you very much, Michaela. And we'll be back after this commercial break. Stay where you are.
The 9 till Noon Show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
Get a grip on pitch with a pair of True Socks, the original premium grip sock. Grip socks matched up with footless socks in many colour options at Brian McCormick Sports. Football boots from Adidas and Puma. Save up to 30% on kids' boots this Christmas. Football gloves and accessories for all ages. Christmas gift ideas at bmcsports.ie with next day delivery.
Who's supplying the magic at Lidl this year?
Hi, I'm David Brett from Oak Park. It's our 15th year supplying Christmas hams to all of Lidl's customers. We select Board Bia quality assured Irish pork. We naturally smoke them using beechwood chips.
Board Bia approved Irish ham joints from $9.99. Wishing you a magical Christmas with Lidl.
Are you building or renovating? Crana Flow Screed is a trusted, locally established company specialising in all types of floor insulation and screeds. For a quote, contact Mark McLaughlin at 086 8177 7808 or email cranaconcrete@gmail.com.
Hello, Anne Gildee here. It's your final chance to see my hit show, How to Get the Menopause and Enjoy It, in Playhouse Derry, Friday the 13th of December, and on Green and Letterkenny, Saturday the 14th. The menopause is a very inclusive condition. You don't have to get it to suffer from it. Tickets at derryplayhouse.co.uk and on greenon.com.
Make your next menswear choice at Watson Menswear Letterkenny. From suits to casual wear, there's big names to choose from like Andre, Remus Umo, Superdry and Penguin. If you're going to a special occasion, get fitted in style for less with a 3-piece suit, shirt, tie and shoes, all for just €299. That's at Watson Menswear, open 7 days a week on Main Street, Letterkenny, and online at watsonmenswear.com. Christmas Club is also now open, and a small deposit will secure any item.
We drove around in a trans. Don't miss the best late night Christmas entertainment at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny. With One for the Road this Saturday 7th, Saturday 14th, there's David Craig and his band. And on Saturday 21st, don't miss the legendary Whistling Donkeys. Pay at the door each night. It's the season's biggest lineup at Pulse Venue, Letterkenny.
Did you know that low mood, feeling anxious, trouble sleeping, and stress are all part of our mental health? Signs that can be harder to recognise in yourself. For personalised advice that can help, use the My Mental Health Plan tool at yourmentalhealth.ie from the HSE.
A lot of you in favour of a crematorium for Letterkenny. If it goes ahead, says the listener, I'll be there for my creation when my time comes. Another, great to have a crematorium locally. I have to do that journey to Cavan before and after a family member has passed away, and it's very tiring on the family. Saves lots of hassle to have one here in Letterkenny. As you know, it's getting very common. Yeah, 1 in 3, according to Pascal Blake. Crematorium in Letterkenny, great idea. Definitely would support this, says the listener. I would have mixed feelings about a crematorium, but recently started watching a TikTok from a crematorium, and it's all very interesting in how it's done, and it changed my attitude about it all. But knowledge often is power, isn't it? And that's often where we can have our minds changed. Last weekend, 200 people were massacred by Israeli forces in North Gaza. The genocide's ongoing, even though the mainstream media have moved on. Hospitals and healthcare workers continue to be targeted. Only last week, Human Rights Watch reported Israel is committing crimes against humanity. Our small vigil continues at LUH on Thursday at 6 p.m. Be grateful if you could mention it, Greg. Thank you. That comes in from Dr. Thomas, indeed. It is awful what's going on over there. There's just no doubt about it. And you're right. The news cycle works in such a way that unfortunately, people are dying and they're not even being recognised because it's not being reported. Right, okay. Now, I just want to mention that you could win a €130 Pamper Me Please package. It's my last mention of this today. It's in association with our friends at the Silver Tassie Hotel and Seascape Spa. It includes, over the course of 2.5 hours, of just pure you time, relaxation. You know, we spend so much time trying to meet the needs of others. Do we often give ourselves enough time for ourselves? Or maybe you're struggling as to what you might buy that special person in your life for Christmas. And I can tell you, universally, it's often seen as a fantastic Christmas present, and actually well thought out as well, because it sort of appreciates the efforts people put in, and it gives them that 2.5 hours of just themselves. No kids, no work, no stress. It's a 2.5 hour package and includes an aromatic steam session and cocoon room, a hot towel, foot and back cleanse, a stress-free relieving back massage, a Yonka facial with face and scalp massage, a pressure point foot massage, and snooze relaxation time with refreshments. To be in with a chance of winning the fantastic prize tomorrow, just answer a simple question. Which Christmas song mentions a one-horse open sleigh? Is it Jingle Bells or White Christmas? Text or WhatsApp your answer, name and address to 086 60 25,000. And it can't be the back massage as well, you know. I used to get wild trouble with my back. I used to be stressed, and the way I'd get it is it would go into my shoulders and then it would go up my neck and in across the top of my head. And it was very hard for me to describe how it felt, but my head felt fuzzy at times, you know what I mean? Because the muscles were tugging on the top of my head. And then now and again going in for a massage, and I have to say, in Academy down there in Letterkenny, it really, really does make a difference. So I'd recommend anyone who can spare the time or can afford it to get it done. Right, Jerry Adams, author of Cage 11, Prison Writings from Lunkesh, is with me on the programme now. Good morning, Jerry.
Good morning, Greg. How are you?
I'm doing good, and it's good to have you on the show. And you put in quite a busy few weeks in the run-up to the election, trying to steal our jobs. I noticed there on social media you doing a bit of reporting.
Just a bit of crack, sure.
Yeah.
But people get tired with all very well paid presenters, so an old amateur like me can come in and.
Well, I'll tell you who's safe is Paul Brady, because I'll say no more than that. I saw your video with Porg McLaughlin. Jerry, Cage 11 Prison Writings from Longkesh. This is not the first time people will have read your words, but it has been repackaged and there's additions to it. Talk to us about the book.
Okay. Just by the way, I think that Paul Brady's version of the Homes of Donegal, apart from Padraig McLaughlin, is the very best that I've ever heard.
I think I'll agree. I think I'll agree with you on that one.
A cracking version. Wait, okay. So when I was in Cage 11, I was asked to write, and I got a wee group of other prisoners, and we would write about what we saw was happening outside. And so we set about doing that, and in the course of it, a lot of what I was writing became more about what was happening inside, and the prisoners. And we were in cages. We were held in nissen huts, and caged compounds surrounded by barbed wire, patrolled by British Army and war dogs and big searchlights and all the rest. But just what you would see in films about cold bits and stuff like that. So we weren't allowed to write and send stuff out, so we had to smuggle it out. And a friend of mine, Donny Devaney, who would be very well known now in artistic circles as one of the main Belfast mural painters, and Donny started that along with one or two others, that art on the gabled walls, and they should have a way back. But when we were in Cage 11, he used to do little drawings, little cartoons that went out with the writings. And for the first time, they have been reproduced. So this material was written and Donny's drawings were done 50 years ago. I was in there writing between August 1975 and February 1977. So they're 50 years old. And it's interesting to think back on how much has changed in that time. And they were first published by Brandon Books way back in 1990, I think it may have been. And there's been a number of new editions. So this is the latest edition, complete with Donny's drawings.
And just to let people know early on, Jerry will be signing copies of the book this Saturday in Bookmark in Letterkenny Shopping Centre. The story you tell from inside, or at least what we learn from these writings, obviously is the dire conditions, but also to, I suppose, the awareness of what's going on within, what's going on sort of without, and how you cope, how you get through it.
Yeah, some of the stories are a bit light-hearted because, you know, when you get a bunch of people together, there's always a bit of humour, sometimes dark humour, but there's always a bit of crack and banter and messing along with more desperate events. And if you can think about it now, this was, like there were, I don't know, there were 22 cages at the height of Longkesh. And say, you know, that would be 2,000 men. So, and there were about 36 women interned and more than that sentenced in Armagh Women's Prison. But in the cages of Longkesh, there were sentenced prisoners and internees. And we were from everywhere on the island. So you had old age pensioners. There were actually people, there was one man called Liam Mulholland who was first interned in the 1920s. So there were people there who had been in the 30s and the 40s and the 50s at different, because internment was used without trial by the old regime at Stormont since partition, and also by the new regime in this state as well. So you had the older people, you had teenagers, you had city people, you had farmers, fishermen, all from all walks of life, well educated, university graduates, along with farm workers and people without any real formal education. And we were housed, if that's the appropriate word, and in these nissen huts, and they were leaky, they were cold. Everybody was on top of everybody else, and we were subjected to raids regularly. The sentence end of the camp, I ended up at the sentence end of the camp for a period. It was slightly more regimented than the internee end. The internee end was a bit more informal, and there were always people coming and people going. And the sentence then, I often used to remark that it was like going from internment up to the sentence then was like going from a holiday camp to a monastery, because obviously the ones at the sentence end had dates, they were doing sentences, they had their own regime, their own routine, and they got on with it. Where in the sentence end, it was all a bit upside down, and somebody you could, in the sentence end, even if you were doing a long sentence, you had a date, so you could work towards that. In the internee end, you could be held for years, or you could be held for a day or a week or 2 weeks. So, and there was always a bit of messing going on, like where when a person was being released from the internment, then the prison officer, the screw, would have come to the gate, and he would have shouted, "Greg Coos, release." So that led to all sorts of mimics, other prisoners shouting out someone's name and saying they were released, and the poor unsuspecting person would go out thinking he was getting out, and of course he wasn't. And then people refused to fall for that trick, and sometimes it affected people who were actually being released. So it was all a bit chaotic.
The Boy Who Cried Wolf would start playing. Jerry, many people listening will have lived through it and understand. But I mean, we don't have a ton of time, but just briefly, like on the day that you were lifted and interned, what happened? What was the process and what happened next?
Well, I was lifted in Belfast. I was taken to the Springfield. I was lifted a few times now. I was in prison a few times for relatively short periods. I did about 4.5 years, all told. I was taken to the local barracks, and I was beaten stupid. I was beaten unconscious on a number of occasions. And then I was, after being there for whatever it was, 12 hours or 14 hours or so, I was taken to, in the first instance, to Palace Barracks, which is a notorious place that the hooded men were brought to, and in which the British government were found guilty of inhuman and degrading treatment. And I was held there for whatever amount of days. And again, I was subjected to physical beatings, the psychological treatment and all the rest of that. And then I was brought to, in the first case, to the Maidstone prison ship. There was a prison ship in Belfast Lock. And I remember I couldn't walk for about 3 or 4 days. And the same thing happened, although I wasn't brought to the Maidstone, that was the prison ship. The second time I was arrested, a year or so later, again, when I was brought to Longcash, again I couldn't walk for 2 or 3 days.
And did they beat you? Were they beating you just because they could, or were they trying to extract information, or what would have their not? I'm not asking you to speak on behalf of those responsible, but were they questioning you during this process, or were they just beating you?
Well, there was a mixture of both. I suppose when I was arrested initially, they were just beating me because that's the way it happened. But the interrogation in the barracks on both occasions was all trying to establish who I was and so on. And it was systematic. It wasn't like if you and I had a fight and we just lost our tempers with each other, that's one. But no, this was systematic. This was up against the wall in the surge position, knees, legs apart, at right angles to the wall, on your fingertips. That went on and on and on. They had interesting systems in police barracks and in the cubicle. And I can't remember the name of this, but the cubicle was lined with tiles, and when you were sitting there before you were taken back in to be interrogated again, it was almost like an hallucination. The tiles give off and give off like an impression of I can't quite describe how it was, but it certainly made you disorientated. And of course, you weren't fed, and you weren't allowed to sleep. They come up behind you, dropped iron implements, shouted, screamed, yelled. My first bout in the police barracks, I was accosted by was obviously a British soldier or an RUC officer, but he was wearing a white coat and it was covered in blood. And he bounced in screaming and shouting, and the others tried to or pretended to be restraining him. So there was all of that sort of mind games going.
And at that time, am I right with my timelines that you would have had you would have been involved, would you, in trying to come to some sort of a you were involved in negotiations at time during a break in between your internment incarceration. So you were seen as someone with influence in the Republican movement that could have worked towards a conclusion of it, and yet still you were being treated in this way.
Well, the first time I was arrested, and I wasn't held for that long. I think it was around St. Patrick's Day, around March, and I was released in June. And I went off, and along with Daithí O'Connell, the late Daithí O'Connell, we negotiated with the British, and that led to a truce between the IRA and the British to facilitate talks. Unfortunately, that broke down, and I went back on the run again. And it was 40 years before we got to that position again. I remember when we went to the talks in London, we were flown into a British Army or British military or British Air Force base in London, and that was with Martin McGuinness. And 40 years later, when we were leaving Downing Street, and there was some hold up with the talks had been delayed, and they had to send us back on a private plane, and didn't send us back to the same place, to the Air Force base that we'd been in 40 years ago, and both Martin and I recognised that. So in the 40 years in between, countless people died, countless people were injured, lives were destroyed, and communities disrupted, and tons of people who would never have been in prison were in prison.
Did you ever have to get support for what you went through? Because, I mean, the post, it would be impossible not to be traumatized by I'm not sure, maybe you're on the record saying this, everybody knows it, but I'm just not familiar with it. Did you, I mean, that's the kind of stuff presumably you can still wake up at night reflecting on.
No, I sleep well.
Okay.
You see, it was very common. This is the thing that a lot of folks, if it was just me,
right,
or if it was just you and me, sure, it would be desperate. But I mean, whole communities were under occupation. There were more British soldiers in the north than there were in Iraq, and because the predominance of them were in Republican or nationalist areas, therefore the intensity of the occupation, like in my home place of West Belfast, or my local area of Ballymurphy, we were surrounded by huge British military forces. They have strategic positions on all the main roads, the Glen Road, the Andersonstown Road, the Falls Road, the Springfield Road, and they kept the community under continuous surveillance. And I think at the height of the conflict, like there were something like 600 people, mostly men, but not exclusively men, in prison from Ballymurphy. And Ballymurphy is a relatively small housing estate. So there was a communal element to this. So it was what I have described was common for anyone who ran foul of the British military or of the RUC, or who ended up being detained or ended up being interned.
I'm not. I mean, not to talk extensively on it, but I mean, a lot of people will be getting their first glimpse at this, as accurate or as inaccurate it is, through this controversial Disney Plus show, which I'm sure you haven't watched. I won't presume that. The one thing I will say about it, forgetting the sort of subject matter and what people agree and disagree on, it does actually capture quite well. I only watched 1 or 2 episodes. It does actually capture quite well just people being rounded up and the treatment of particularly Catholics in the north at that time. I take it it's a program you haven't watched or have no interest in watching, Jerry?
No, I have no interest in watching it. It's based actually on what were called the Boston Tapes.
Yeah.
And this was a project set up by 2 very anti-Republican journalists. And the High Court in Belfast actually threw out the Boston Tapes, and Justice O'Hara said that the authors of the Boston College project had a clear bias. I'm quoting here, Greg, had a clear bias and were out to get Gerry Adams. And Professor O'Neill from Boston College described the project as deeply flawed, and it's now held up, he says, as a model of how not to do oral history. So I won't be watching it, and the fact that Disney presents this as entertainment is just beyond comprehension.
And indeed, the McConville family and others, there's new cases being launched in the last couple of days by those taking issue with it. And the thing is they don't actually, they portray it as fact as well. And just in relation to that, there is this, and then we'll move on, because I want to talk finally about the book. There is this disclaimer at the start of every episode where it talks, it says Gerry Adams has always maintained he's never been a member of the IRA. That's on the record, not asking that question. But is there any scenario, circumstance, or happenstance, do you think, that will ever happen into the future that the answer to that question will ever be different, or is it always going to be the same?
That's always going to be the same, Greg.
Okay.
That's the reality of it.
Now, who do you think should read Cage 11? Do you think people, as the ones I talked of earlier, that maybe thankfully were born after? It's not perfect, right? But the life for someone in the north and on the island of Ireland now is so far removed from even my recollection and certainly your experiences. I think it's important people learn about their history, and then of course there are generations that will be able to relate to the book as well. So it has a broad audience, I think, Jerry.
Yeah, well, I think its uniqueness is that it was written in prison. So it's about Cage 11, and it was written in Cage 11 and smuggled out. So it has a uniqueness in that regard. Now, in the little Revra and the little introduction, when it was first published in 1990, I read in the Revra, that was the end of the decades of prison protest. That was the end of the protest in Armagh Women's Prison and in the Hates blocks, and of course the 10 men who died there in 1981. And now all those prisons are out. The cages have disappeared. There aren't any long cache cages. And in the Hates blocks, because they were being built when this book, or at least when the articles were written, the Hits blocks. It's only the prison hospital where the 10 lads died. That's the only part that's left. And the prison releases came, as we all know, as a result of the Good Friday Agreement. And there's been lots of other changes, and there's a peace process, and the conflict is ended. Now there's a small number of political prisoners, mostly dissidents, but that's going to end as well. Like and those groups are going to continue to decline. So the release of all the prisoners will mean that this is all part of penal history. So it's good that we have, those of us who have survived, that we have come through all of this. And as I said a moment ago, the uniqueness of this particular work is that it was written there and then, as things were happening.
You're not
it was
reflecting
written,
on it. It's raw.
No,
real.
it's just as it was happening, and some of it is crack, because I mean the things that you wouldn't think would happen, like for example, some of the prisoners, an odd time, a pigeon would have been injured and would have landed on the cage, and so for a while we had a pigeon shed in our cage, and the screws used to come in and rack it, and the pigeons, of course, flew up into the air, and then when that raid was over, they would have come down again. So there's, just and people died in the place. I mean, Q Coney, whose case just came up there last month, was shot to death during an escape. Others died from natural causes. I remember an old man, Henry Heaney, from Lorgan in County Armagh, and my abiding memory of him is on Sunday he would have put on his good suit before Mass and walk around the cage before he went to Mass. And Henry was imprisoned. He was a sentenced prisoner for a thought law. There was about 5 arrested, and there was 1 gun, and they were all charged with possession of the 1 weapon. Wow. And Henry was charged with conspiracy, which was he was accused of having conspired in his mind. So there's all that bits and pieces, and then there's just the crack, the banter between different people, sad bits, happy bits, funny bits. A lot of days set aside in the year for the making of potching and scrumpy. So around Christmas or maybe some other occasion, prisoners would have made illicit drink and would have had a session. And then at one time they wouldn't let us take in hurling sticks, and some of us took old wood down from the Nissen huts and made hurling sticks, which didn't last any more than 20 minutes because, of course, they weren't ice. So there's all that sort of crack okay. as well as the more desperate aspects. And, of course, the people who really suffered the most were families, because prisoners got on with it. But the families are the ones.
And I had that camaraderie, which I'm sure would have. Yeah. And I think it's really interesting, and to get an insight, the fact that it was almost like a sample of population. You talked earlier on of from working class to people with less education, right up to those with the highest of educations. Jared, people have a unique opportunity to get the book signed by you on Saturday in Bookmark in Letterkenny Shopping Centre. I don't have the time in front of me. You don't have it off the top of your head. I can get it.
It's at 1 o'clock. I actually was advertising it as Easton's, but it's Bookmark, and it's at the shopping centre there in Letterkenny.
No problem.
Starting at 1 o'clock on Saturday, Greg.
On Saturday in Bookmark, Letterkenny Shopping Centre. Jerry, thanks for your time.
Greg, thank you, and take care.
You too. Bye-bye. Okay, that's Jerry Adams, their author of Cage 11, Prison Writings from Loch Esk. It is a new publication of it, which includes those illustrations from Danny Devaney, which were also etched in the cages, and they give there's something about them that they're raw, right? They're not like, but anyway, you'll see them yourselves. They actually have a way in a way of being very, very insightful.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union. Simplify your debts with a debt consolidation loan from Letterkenny Credit Union. Call us on 074 910 2126 or apply online via our app or in office today. Christmas has arrived at Patterson's. Christmas trees and decorations now on display. Christmas gifts, from Hollywood mirrors to wall art to home fragrances, you'll find the perfect gift at Patterson's. There's a large range of dining tables and chairs, sofas, mattresses and bedroom furniture in stock and ready for Christmas delivery. Open Monday to Saturday 9 a.m. till 5:30 p.m. with free local delivery. Patterson's the Hall Lifford, for everything you need this Christmas.
Want highly reliable broadband for a great price? Get the 3-5G home broadband for just €20 a month for 12 months. Setup is easy. Simply plug in and go. Visit your local 3 store in Buncrana. Subject to coverage. Terms and conditions apply. Customer speed may vary. Ask in store for details.
Zach Bryan, live at Phoenix Park. Friday and Saturday, June 20th and 21st. Subject to license. Tickets $121.25 go on sale this Thursday at 8 a.m. Maybe subject to fees. Presented by Aiken Promotions.
This Christmas, find something for everyone on your list at Michael Murphy Sports. From the latest Asics runners to Donegal GAA jerseys and leisure wear. For budding gymnasts, there's kids' nastics, wedge mats and balance beams in a range of vibrant colours and styles. See michaelmurphysports.ie or in-store at Station Roundabout, Letterkenny.
Celebrate Christmas with a festive feast at La Paba Restaurant, Letterkenny. Join us on December 13th, 14th, 20th or 21st for a delicious 3-course meal. Enjoy starters like smoked salmon galati, mains such as beef cheek or pan-fried cod, and indulgent desserts like sticky toffee pudding, all for just €45 per person. Bring your own bottle, no corkage fee. To book, visit La Paba Restaurant, Letterkenny's Facebook page or call in for more information.
Shekelatha ama Highland Radio. Arna Dortugat ag Airgrid. Uproar agus forbor anga letrahas na Héireann. Airgrid. Pobal a guachtu, era a guachtu. Teshe.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union. Digital loans now available. Apply online or via our app today and get your loan transferred directly to your current account.
Make your toy show a great night in with Centra's amazing offers. Like Tato Assorted, Cheese and Onion and King 18-pack boxes $2.50 each. Cadbury Milk Tray 360 gram only €4. And Coca-Cola range 12-can packs €6 each plus deposit. Centra. Live every day.
Introducing Flow for Men, my new fragrance collection of products created to keep you feeling fresh and looking sharp. The ideal gift for the man in your life. Find Flow in pharmacies nationwide or online at flowbybo.com. Start every day with confidence.
Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo will take place in the Inishowen Gateway Hotel, Buncrana, this Thursday, 5th of December, in association with Buncrana Children's Charity. €3,000 must go on the night, including €1,000 to be won on the last house. Doors open at 7:30 with eyes down at 8:30. That's Buncrana Golf Club Charity Bingo at the Inishowen Gateway on Thursday, 5th of December.
Join David James and the Outside Broadcast team this Friday for the Jive Time live from Century Complex, Letterkenny, for the launch of their brand new indoor Crazy Golf. Test your skills with the Crazy Golf, AR darts and shuffleboard. Now open and ready to play 7 days a week. We will have exclusive giveaways on the day, so join us from 2:30 live from Century Complex this Friday.
Get ready for Christmas at Meehan's of Rafo with men's polo shirts, quarter zips, chinos and shirts all up to 5XL. Shirt and jumper sets available up to 4XL. A large selection of ladies' diesel fleeces with matching leggings to make the ideal Christmas gift at Meehan's of Rafo with Christmas gift vouchers available.
Join us this Thursday at 1 p.m. for another episode of Lunchtime Lives, coming to you live on Facebook from Healthwise Pharmacies in Dunlow. We'll be diving into all things Christmas gifting with lots on offer, from top gift ideas to the latest must-have beauty essentials. That's this Thursday live on Facebook from Healthwise Pharmacy in Dunlow.
Cockhill Celtic and Carrandonna football clubs present their grand draw where someone will win €200,000 on New Year's Day. Tickets are €100 and the draw is limited to 8,000 tickets. To get a full list of prizes or purchase your ticket, go to www.200kfornewyearsday.com. Alternatively, contact a club member or call into a local shop.
Now, Donegal has won double at the Climate Ambassador Awards. Antashka Award students Dana, I beg your pardon, Manlagnit and teacher Eddie Bradley for outstanding achievements in 2024. Dana and Eddie, good morning to you both.
Good morning.
All right, Eddie, I'll start with you if that's okay. Outstanding Achievement awardee Eddie Bradley chose one particular issue to focus on, and took it further than anyone could have expected. I can't speak all of a sudden. Right, so talk to me, Eddie, about what you was chosen for.
Well, I was chosen for my work in encouraging cycling and active travel in Letterkenny. What's great about the Climate Ambassador system, because there were 10 award winners, but there were 148 ambassadors, and it's open to anyone across the country, is that it brings everyone together, and you get a chance to talk through what actions you can take, what you're best at, and where you can make an impact. And I realized that really what I was most interested in and passionate about was cycling, get more people cycling. So that's essentially what I did throughout the year with different bike week events, setting up the Letterkenny cycling campaign and getting a local group going there. And then I was actually talking to yourself earlier in the year,
right,
because
yeah.
I did a trip to Cork to raise awareness of climate change and sustainable tourism as well.
Yeah, you took your time.
Well, you can't rush these things, Greg.
Yeah, indeed. And I suppose it brings often in public discourse, the conversation about cycling is cyclists versus motorists and all that kind of stuff. But you've been plugging away in the background, really, just to talk about the positives of cycling and show what you can do too. If you're passionate about something.
Absolutely, yeah. Like for me, it's just whenever I see all the traffic in Letterkenny and you see all the pollution, cycling is a really easy way to get around that I've always done everywhere else I've lived. So it's great to see more people get involved, and every time I go out, I start to see more people on bicycles and traveling around more sustainably. But that's you can choose absolutely anything related to helping the climate. So that could be maybe just in your GAA club, like leading sustainability there, get involved in the GAA Green Clubs initiative, or it could be, a biodiversity survey, or really, anything related to climate at all.
Now, I'll come back to you. Dana is a student at Loreto Secondary School. Is that in Letterkenny or Milford, Dana?
Letterkenny.
Letterkenny, okay. Right, so you're now a climate ambassador. Talk to me about the work you've been doing.
So I mostly focused on communications throughout the year, and my main project was starting an online zine, short for magazine, called Climate Culture, featuring people's art and poetry on different themes relating to the climate. And the main focus of my zine was mostly to promote the sharing of knowledge between different people's perspectives and experiences. And I also entered the Eco-UNESCO Young Environmentalist Awards with a few of my friends, where we hosted a workshop for fifth class students on how to make seed bombs to biodiversify their garden. And we won a highly commended award at the awards as well.
Why is the climate something you're so passionate about? It's an obvious question, Dana, but I just want to hear it from your mouth.
So when I was young, I was really outdoorsy. I loved nature. I was really into things like National Geographic, and I would love seeing all the different landscapes and ecosystems in the different books and stuff. So when I learned about climate change in school, I was kind of outraged, why is this happening? Why aren't we doing anything? So I really wanted to start being an activist, but I really wasn't sure where to start until I met a climate ambassador the other year, and she introduced me to the Climate Ambassador program. And since I joined the program, they've given me training, support, and the resources to actually do my activism.
Yeah, because, this is your world, really. A lot of people that make the decisions are even much older than me, and I'm no spring chicken. Does it frustrate you when you see the major world powers either turning their back on the climate crisis, or, going to the annual meetings and just coming up with piecemeal stuff? It must be quite frustrating, given the fact that this is the world that you're going to inherit. And also, it seems that if young people like yourself very vocal on issues like this. Big boys and girls don't mind having a pop at you either. So I think it's kind of brave to be talking about the climate publicly, but also it must be a little bit frustrating watching on when so much of this is out of your control.
Yes, it is quite frustrating because, as the young people of today, the future of the planet is essentially like in our hands. As
No, that's okay. No, that's
I'm so
perfectly
sorry.
fine. No, a slight distraction. Don't worry about that, Dana. You're right to go on ahead, yeah?
Yeah, it is quite frustrating as essentially the planet will be passed down into our generation, but it's people who are quite old and sorry, but they won't really see the future of the planet.
Listen, what you say is right. What it
yes.
effectively is I'll be dead. I think is what
I'm
you're
so
trying
sorry.
to say. No, but it's the truth. Like, there's no wrong words to say. That I said the same in my question. I'll be dead, so it's not bothering me. You're the person that's going to have to grow older, and it's perfectly fine. We're not very sensitive, Dana. Don't worry about it. Can you just briefly tell me too a little bit about how you used sort of poetry and art to sort of, I don't know, is it to get the message across or to express yourself in terms of concerns over the climate, Dana?
So personally, I'm really interested in poetry and art and literature. So my idea was to create a collaborative magazine where people could submit their poetry and art based off of their experiences, because I feel like poetry, art, literature are like great ways for people to express their feelings and their emotions. And so kind of having a space for people to share their art and their poetry, it really enlightens other people as they're able to see how people are thinking.
Yeah, reach people in different ways. And what does it feel like to be officially named a climate ambassador now? Because it was an engagement with a climate ambassador, I think, that really focused you on your path.
It feels great. It's lovely to have like a support network of people with similar mindsets, similar ideas, and a lot of different skills as well that I can go to for help. If I need help on like a communication or an action, the team are always there to help. So, and it's great to feel supported by that network of people.
All right, Dana, listen, thanks so much. Congratulations. You did really well as well too, by the way. Don't worry, you haven't offended us oldies. We know the reality. Don't you worry about that, okay? No, you did fantastic. You did yourself and your family and the school proud. Fair play to you, Dana. We'll chat again, I've no doubt about that. And finally, back to you, Eddie. What do you hope to do as an ambassador now? I mean, I suppose it's a recognition of what you've already been doing and plugging away, and you did it, without sort of that moniker. So I presume it's just more of the same. It's something you're clearly very passionate about, Eddie.
Absolutely, yeah. Well, just to clarify, there's 148 climate ambassadors. So
I'm
the
only
program
worried
starts.
about the ones in Donegal, so forget the rest.
Oh, okay.
I'm only joking. Go ahead.
There's 148, and then it's only 10 every year get selected for the Outstanding Achievement Award, which is
It's an amazing achievement.
Got selected
really
for.
is.
So it was really to go back to your question, it was really the Climate Ambassador program that focused my attention on actually taking
Okay.
action and giving me the encouragement to keep going. And just even, the first time I got a chance to speak on Highland Radio, I was able to, just go through what would happen and have a little bit of a run through, and just using the Climate Ambassador gave me that way in.
Yeah.
Like with one of the participants I was talking to in Cork, he managed to get a meeting with the mayor in Cork just by saying he was a climate ambassador.
So it works. It has gravitas to it. I really enjoyed your story, and I wish I had, particularly the cycle to Cork. I was envious of you, to me, because it sounds like a wonderful thing to do. Anything planned for 2025 in that regard?
Yeah, well, I've got lots of ideas. Whether they'll come to fruition or not, I'm not sure. Like, we could maybe get a tandem and you could join me on the back, Greg. It sounds like you're up for it.
Do you have to cycle more on the back or front? I don't need pedals. You could just cycle.
Okay.
You could just cycle me around the country.
Yeah, well, you can be in the front and then you can steer and then I'll do the work.
Fair
That sounds
enough.
like a good deal.
That sounds like a better deal. But let us know what you plan. And it was lovely to chat to you the first time. And I'm delighted to see that you've very few people received the Outstanding Achievement Award. And it's well deserved, Eddie. We'll talk again, no doubt. Have a wonderful day and keep on cycling.
Fantastic.
All
Greg.
right,
Thanks
take
a
care,
million.
Eddie. Thanks so much indeed. And a big thank you again to Climate Ambassador Dana Manlagnit, I believe is the correct pronunciation there. Dana, definitely correct. She's a student from Loreto Secondary School in Letterkenny in Donegal. She's brilliant. Eddie, brilliant too as well. They're plugging away. Might not be for everyone, but there you go. John Nealis on YouTube says, and I despair sometimes as to how people formulate their views or how they wish to progress them. John Nealis says, Greg supporting unvetted invaders, criminals in our country, disgraceful. How? Give me an example. How in any way have I encouraged or supported? It doesn't make any sense to me. I love conversation, I love criticism, and I love back and forwards debate, but explain to me in what way I have done that. It's complete and utter nonsense. All right, today's winner of a €50 voucher from Cadbury, and also in the draw for the Friday 2 hamper surprise, is Claire. Claire here at Letterkenny. I'd like to nominate my dad Dermot. He's always there if you need anything, and he's a hard-working man who doesn't get spoilt too often. That's lovely, Claire, and it's lovely for us dads too to get a bit of attention and a bit of thanks and care. So I'm sure he's going to appreciate that. Now, if he's not listening, you can do whatever you like with the €50 voucher.
The 9 till noon show is brought to you by Letterkenny Credit Union, with monster loans available up to €60,000 for all occasions. Visit letterkennycu.ie.
OMG, girl, you look unreal. Where's your dress from?
Oh, thank you. I actually borrowed it from my friends.
Stop. I love sharing clothes.
We swap all the time. No need to buy new.
Exactly. You look amazing.
Oh, thanks a mil. Enjoy your night.
You too.
Buy less, rewear, share, because that's what's trending right now. Find out more about circular fashion at reversethetrend.ie. Brought to you by the Government of Ireland.
Make your toy show a great night in with Centra's amazing offers. Like Tato Assorted, Cheese and Onion and King 18-pack boxes $2.50 each. Cadbury Milk Tray 360 gram only €4. And Coca-Cola range 12-can packs €6 each plus deposit. Centra. Live every day.
Cupra. People tend to become obsessed. What is it? Where do I find it? How do I get one? And the new Cupra range will only increase that sense of desire, with power options from petrol and diesel to plug-in hybrid and full electric. Experience the new Leon, the new Formentor, and the new all-electric Born VZ. Available now with exclusive offers. That thing you feel? It's called obsession. Visit CupraOfficial.ie.
Your local Cupra dealer is DMG Motors, Clar Road, Donegal Town. Telephone 074 97 21396.
GiveBlood.ie know we can count on you, our community of blood donors, to be there for others in their hour of need. Blood donors from Ballyshannon should attend the clinic in Colóiste Columkill in Ballyshannon on Monday 2nd of December. Donors from Killybegs should attend the clinic in St Catherine's School in Killybegs on Tuesday 3rd, and donors from Donegal Town and Dunloe should attend the clinic in the Abbey Hotel in Donegal Town on Wednesday 4th and Thursday 5th. Making an appointment is recommended, so call 1-800-731-137 or visit our website to book your time. New donors are vital. Visit giveblood.ie to check eligibility and clinic details, because we count on you.
Highland Radio weather updates with McElhenney's. Find the perfect present for everyone on your list this festive season. Discover the joy of gifting and make Christmas magical with McElhenney's Ballybuffet. Visit us in-store or online at mcelhenneys.com.
The 9 till noon show with Letterkenny Credit Union, now offering mortgages from $40,000.
Gonna have to stop that. I don't know why that ran on. Mostly cloudy this morning with showery rain spreading east. Heavy at times. The rain will clear southeastwards through the afternoon with sunny spells and blustery showers following. It's become increasingly windy through the day with southwest winds increasing strong to near gale and gusty, and later veering west to northwest, further increasing gale force at times in coastal parts. Temperatures today 8 to 10 degrees, and as I mentioned earlier on, we have seen an amber weather warning for from the UK Met Office for Derry and Tyrone. I don't see anything yet coming in for us here in the northwest, but it is in the south. You know what I mean? In the south part of the northwest, it's all very bloody complicated. But anyway, it's inevitable, so it's going to get pretty windy. Thanks again to Eddie and Dana, to enjoyed the chat with them guys. Has Jerry watched Kneecap, and what does he think of such a young group refueling a passion for the Irish language with such a political narrative? I'm sorry I didn't get that one in on time, but I do appreciate you sending it in to us. So just in relation to that Disney Plus show, Marion Price, she's initiated formal legal proceedings by way of pre-action correspondence against Disney for their publication Say Nothing. It's a 2024 historical drama series published by Disney on their American streaming service Disney Plus. The dramatized series is premised upon the 2018 book of the same name, published by Patrick Radden Keefe. The publication in question depicts Marion Price as the person to whom was responsible for murdering Ms. Jean McConville. Mrs. Price has initiated legal proceedings as a result, which is going to be interesting to see how that played out. And some media interviews by some involved in that show had been arranged, actually, in the last couple of weeks, and they were all polled, which I wonder, perhaps in hindsight, if that was why. Greg, brilliant interview with Jerry Adams. Thanks very much for that. I appreciate it. Hi, can you please announce that St. Ninian's Hall Convoy are holding a Christmas bazaar, stalls and Christmas straw this Friday night. Refreshments will be served. Santa will be arriving at 7:30 p.m. Santa is very busy at the moment. He's all over the place, which is fantastic. I don't know how he fits it all in. I have an idea. I think it's because he's magical. I was in New York recently for 2 weeks. There's no word of the war in Ukraine or Gaza. If the big guns in America are not talking about war, what hope do we have? Well, they are talking about it. And it did form part of the election. And those that are talking about it are saying we shouldn't be funding it, which doesn't bode well for Ukraine. Okay, that's where we have to leave it on the show today. We are back tomorrow morning with our Friday show, which means the Friday panel, that's entertainment and so much more. Please rejoin us then at 9. But for today, stay safe and stay tuned.